So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you on the Science Business Conference. It's a second Southeast conference we held this year. We had the first conference last year in Skopje, and we decided to move together with the Western Balkan Ministerial to make sure that while the ministers are talking beside the closed door, in the same afternoon, we open to the research community in the region with the important messages, and our messages probably will echo back to the ministerial participants as well. My name is Edith Herzog. I'm the chairman of the Widening initiative within Science Business, and I'd just like to introduce the Science Business in 2 sentences. In 2004, 4 visionary journalists who worked for the leading European and global papers like Nature and the Financial Times, they didn't really like that the research news shown up only in the 4th or 5th page of the newspapers with the small news in somewhere in the back. Yeah? And they decided to create a newspaper only for research, to put research to the headline and put research to all page of the newspaper. So this is the origin of Science Business back in 2004. And I happen to know them because in 2004, I have been just elected to the European Parliament, so I knew them from their birth, and I worked a lot with them. Not much later, we decided, or they decided, that the people want to meet. People want to have a real life stories and the real life meetings. So Science Business at that time created a network with almost 100 active members today. You think of the leading organizations across Europe and international. And then 3 years ago, Science Business recognized that the Widening initiative, which is the 4th pillar of the Horizon program, actually was not so much discussed. Yeah, so the narrative didn't achieve the voice of the other 3 pillars. Yeah, and we decided to do something about it. So we created the Widening initiative. For those countries are inside the EU and outside the EU, yeah, because the widening region is much bigger. Yeah, the widening region is everyone who can access to the Horizon Europe Fund, the countries associated to the European Horizon Fund, and so altogether it's half of Europe if I'm looking the geographical coverage. Yes, so we decided to create a network in the 3 years, and decided to have a bi-weekly news. So Science Business has also bi-weekly news from the region. And yeah, we have at the moment 15 active members. And we are very happy to welcome our new member, the University of Montenegro. And I'd like to invite the president of the governing board, Milojade Radovic. And I'd like to say that from his CV, it's very clear that the university is very lucky to have someone with the economic and financial background, which probably very much a bottleneck in many research infrastructures, but not here. Milojade, thanks very much for welcoming us, and I will come back after your speech. Thanks.
Thank you. Distinguished representatives of the European research community, honorable guests, colleagues and friends, it is a great pleasure and privilege to welcome you on behalf of the University of Montenegro on the conference Knowledge in Impact, Nurturing Research and Innovation in Southeast Europe. We are deeply honored to host this important gathering dedicated to one of the greatest missions of our time, transforming knowledge into meaningful impact. The University of Montenegro, as the leading academic and research institution in the country, stands proudly at the crossroad of tradition and innovation, committed to fostering excellence, openness, and collaboration. Research and innovation are not merely academic pursuits. They are powerful forces that shape society, drive sustainability growth, and create opportunities for new generations. Through dialogue, cooperation, and shared vision, we strengthen the foundations of a region that is vibrant, creative, and full of potential. This is conference more than a meeting of minds. It is celebration of ideas and testament of your collective belief that Southeast Europe can and must play a vital role with the broader European research area. Together, we are building bridges of knowledge that connect people, institutions, and nations. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our partners and organizers for their dedication in making this event possible. May the discussions, presentations, and new connections formed here serve as seeds for future collaborations that will continue to enrich science, innovation, and the society we all serve. Once again, welcome to the University of Montenegro, a place where knowledge inspires, creativity flourishes, and collaboration leads to progress. Thank you.
So I'm just back for a few minutes because I'd like to remind ourselves that we are living in the era when the European Union is just planning its 7 years framework program, the next one, and therefore it's very important to articulate the messages from the region and speak clearly what we know and what we do not know. So don't forget that this conference is always a kind of balancing act to get all voices heard. And I'm very, very happy that we can help here. The key message from us, and this is the title, says nurturing, that very often when they plan the new work programs, it's always about to find out something new and have a seed, have a seed money for something new. And our message from the region here, that we have already the trees which are growing, branching, blooming, and gave already the first fruits. So actually, instead of cutting trees, the seeds have to arrive as a complementary resources and not other way around. Those who were last year in the conference know exactly that I have in my neck my widening necklace with symbols that we are different in size, different in shape, we are different in color, we are small and big, but we as a community together, we create a very valuable necklace. And I'd like to represent this necklace with another symbol this year, and I'd like to give it to the president. I created that instead of the necklace, we will bring something which is really about the perfection. And for me, the perfection, what I learned in the European Parliament, is not the circle and not the bubble, but this is the egg. So the imperfect circle called egg is actually the perfect thing, and this is the beginning of the life. So it's another way to nurturing. So I'd like to give it to our president, the first egg today, to remember that you are part of that necklace. Sorry, I'm back again. You're going to get rid of me. Yeah, so after last year experience, we have got a very wise advices, and the advice was that instead of going for, instead of starting from nowhere, we invite somebody from the ministerial as a keynote speaker. So I'm extremely happy to welcome Sabine Hensler, who is the director at the GRC. And thanks very much to leave earlier the Western Balkan Ministerial, so I hope that you could have a rest a bit. And you had to provide the keynote speech for us today afternoon. Sabine, thanks very much. And I'd like to see also big thanks for Kalina, who was in our steering committee to prepare the event. Thank you, Kalina. Thank you both.
Thank you very much, President Radovic, and thank you very much, Edith, for introducing me. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. and to come directly from the ministerial, so from the Western Balkan platform for research and innovation, where we had also very interesting discussions and exchanges on what I'm going to talk about on smart specialization. I'm really happy to be here in Podgorica and to represent the Joint Research Center, which is the scientific service of the European Commission. And the purpose of the Joint Research Center is to provide scientific advice to policymakers in order to positively impact society. So that is our purpose, our ambition, and our vision. And our work really extends beyond the European policymakers and the European countries that are part of the Union, and it includes also the associated countries to Horizon Europe. We believe that that benefits both the European Union and the associated countries, and it benefits also the European research area as a whole. From the JRC, we have established a very close cooperation with the Western Balkans, and I'm very happy to see also a member of our Board of Governors sitting here in the audience. So you see we have very close connections. We have also seen that the renewed momentum on the enlargement of the European Union that was also recently supported by the adoption of the growth plan for the Western Balkans makes this cooperation even more relevant. A major part of our shared success story with the region lies in the area of smart specialization. That is a field where we, at the Joint Research Center, have consistently supported progress through analysis, guidance, and methodology. Smart specialization actually brings together business, academia, private sector, and NGOs in order to determine what are the best areas for innovation and the best fields for innovation. So over the past decade, smart specialization, or place-based innovation, as we nowadays also call it, has evolved into a powerful tool across the region. And it really empowers the region to identify their most promising areas of potential in order to also focus investment strategically and to build innovation-driven, place-based growth. That is really essential for the future of the region and its path towards European integration. Smart specialization also represents a key pillar in the European accession process, as it enables the enlargement countries to fully participate in our research and innovation programs. And smart specialization is also an excellent tool for better integration into the European research area. It provides a clear and structured approach to identify and develop regional research and innovation strengths. And it helps to identify competitive advantages. It helps also to build strong and interconnected innovation ecosystems, which are essential for meaningful participation in European research and innovation ecosystems and programs. It helps to align with EU priorities, including in the green and the digital area, and it also helps to promote better cross-border collaboration based on complementary strength rather than competition. And I think this point, complementary strength rather than competition, was also an element that was very much underlined at the Western Balkan platform meeting earlier today and yesterday. If we look at the region, I think we have seen remarkable progress across the region in development and implementation of smart specialization strategies. There are 4 countries, Montenegro, Serbia, North Macedonia, and Albania, who have officially adopted their strategies and are now actively moving into the implementation phase. Montenegro is already at the second stage and the second strategy, and has clearly shown a long-term commitment and leadership in this area. So, for example, if I take the example of smart specialization in Montenegro, we can see that it has been a powerful driver of economic growth and innovation, in particular in the area of ICT and tourism. And I've just had the opportunity also to exchange with the DG from the Ministry of Science and Education, who said that the current process of refining the strategy in view of adopting it next year is also refining the area of tourism. This work has attracted already both local and foreign investments, and we can see that there is a growth of startups and the creation of technology hubs and the improvement of tourism infrastructure. So these achievements really demonstrate the region's growing commitment to a knowledge-based economy, but we can still also see that there are significant challenges that persist. If we look, for example, into the European Innovation Scoreboard for the year 2025, the Western Balkans are classified as emerging innovators, but their innovation performance is below 70% of the EU average. So there is still margin to improve and to gear up. What we see is that there is low research and development investment, especially from the private sector, and also that was the subject at the Western Balkan platform meeting, the need to attract private sector investment and combine it with public investments. And the second area of challenge that was highlighted is the persistent skills gap, which continues to hold back the region's full potential. And we are here at the university, so I think this university has a big role to play in, also helping to bridge that skills gap. So these barriers are really critical because they directly impact the region's ability to accelerate the transitions, for example, the digital and the green transition, which are both very important for the competitiveness of the region and for European integration. So addressing these challenges is crucial, and it requires, I think, in addition to having a vibrant scientific environment, it also requires political commitment to a clear strategic vision. And here, really, smart specialization can help and can support that strategic vision, for example, for the green and the digital transition. So if we focus on innovation in sectors that naturally combine digital and green technologies, for example, in smart agriculture, sustainable tourism, circular economy solutions, we think that the region can develop and build new value chains and attract also much needed investment and create high-skilled jobs. So it's really combining the different elements, the technologies, in order to define also the areas of competitive advantage for the region. Smart specialization is not just a policy tool. We believe it's also a central element for advancing the Western Balkans' deeper integration into the European research area. And that this integration should be based on its unique strength and for that, the smart specialization strategies really help. So in order to sum up, we believe that smart specialization can help to connect the region more closely to the European research area vibrant network of knowledge, talent, and infrastructure, and to ensure that the Western Balkans become active and equal partners in Europe's research and innovation environment. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good event today and tomorrow. Thank you.
why the panelists can take their seats, I'd like to invite Enis Kocan from University of Montenegro, because we wish to announce something. It seems that the European Commission does good things also for the region, and something very important happened last week. Yeah, it was a big announcement by the Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen in Tirana, and Enis, you promised that you will deliver the message here to the community. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends, as a member of the governance board of the Montenegrin Research and Education Network, which is part of the GEANT community since 2005, I'm here to share with you some exciting news that stemming from the EU Western Balkans Investment Forum that took place recently in Tirana. Namely, this event has paved the way for significant progress in digital infrastructure for the Western Balkans region. During the forum, the European Commission, GEANT, and 4IG Group have signed the declaration where the partners agreed to give support to the development of a regional terrestrial digital backbone, and beside this, they will support the investment to the Eagle submarine data cable, which will connect Albania and Egypt. Taken together, these investments will establish a brand new digital corridor between the Western Balkan countries and Western Balkan countries and EU main data hubs, which is a crucial step towards closer integration with Europe. This action ensures secure, high capacity and low latency connectivity for the region. The declaration from the Tirana represents significant leap forward in our collective effort to build a more connected, competitive, and digital advanced Western Balkans. I believe that this investment will unlock incredible potential in the region for the cooperation, for the grow up of the startups and all IT companies. Thank you, Edith. Thank you.
And now I have a pleasure to invite the first panel. I'd like to... oh, sorry. No. It's too warm for me. So after last year, we decided to have more real-life stories, because it's easy to talk about the financial framework program, it's easy to talk about the Horizon Europe program, the different definitions, the different meaning, the scope, etc., etc. But what really matters is the talent which was developed, yeah? So I'd like to say thanks for Elsevier, because the original idea came from me, and then it was actually Rana who said that, yeah, but why we call it as we call, why we do not talk about the science business widening talks. So now the first discussion of the widening talks will come from the three very talented researchers who were actually awarded from the different EU projects, from the COST project, from the Policy Answers project, and from the EIT. So I'd like to invite Rana Sanyal, Uroš Dordevic, and Erida Čepela to come here to the three seats and make a presentation after each other. You have 10 minutes each to talk about your success story. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me say hello first to my panel. Yes, I see my picture, so I see that I'm the first one. First, I would like to thank very much to Science Business and personally to Edith for inviting me, and to TÜBİTAK, the Scientific and Technological Council of Turkey, for suggesting me. Maybe I might have a clicker. Yes, perfect. Thank you. And I'm really honored to be able to share my story here with you today. So let's see what you will think on, we take research and then how we actually make a difference with that research that we do. So the story that I will tell you today about is going to be my philosophy about a cure with a smile, and that's going to come from optimizing. I'm not going to use too many scientific terms, but therapeutic index is something I'll explain in the meantime. So I'll start with this video for you. I hope none of you have ever sat down next to a loved one with this drip going through their veins, where you are hoping for the cure, you are hoping for the disease to disappear, but then at the same time it comes, especially with this chemotherapy, it comes with the side effects that the bone marrow diminishes, mouth sores, with all the weight loss and everything. So there is this drip, the constant drip. You hope for the best, but you know what's really happening. We are really sending some poison to the blood vessels of your loved one, and that's where it starts. So my story started here, that is it really possible to have the benefits of this, but not have this hurt so much? That was the idea. So cancer is a huge problem in the whole world. We lose about 10 million people every year. It's expected to grow even more. So by 2050, it's going to grow even 70%. 1 out of every 6 deaths is due to cancer right now. We have lots of different types of therapies. Lots of different types of therapies. There is the chemo, there is transplantation, surgery, radiotherapy and everything. But till very, very recently, it was always survival at any cost kind of an idea. Now, in the last few years, it has come again, do not have the survival at any cost, but have the quality of life. And have comfort for the patient as well. So my idea that we started working on was this targeted therapies. We take the chemo, but have it directly targeted into the tumor. What do I mean by that? Right-hand side, you see the regular chemo. It goes all around the body. The targeted version just gets optimized to go into the tumor, accumulates in the tumor, shows the effect only on the tumor, and doesn't show the side effects. How does it really work? We have a carrier, we attach the drugs in such a manner that this whole thing is going to break once it's inside the tumor only. It's not going to break beforehand. And then there is the targeting. You see the purple right here. The oranges are the drugs. Purple is the targeting unit that's going to home this whole thing into the tumor. Once you put it inside water, this whole thing becomes almost like a nanoparticle. You have heard these nano terms before, I'm sure. And how does it work? This blue is the receptor on the cell surface. So the drug, this nanomedicine, goes in, engages with that receptor. The cell itself does something called endocytosis. I promise I'm not going to use more scientific terms. And then takes it all inside. Once it's inside the tumor cell, then the drug gets released and then kills that cell. The idea is very simple. It just took a few years to do it, basically. So what did we do with this idea? Was we took the same idea that we can have a polymer, and you can attach different drugs, different targeting units. It's almost like a Lego piece. You attach anything that you like. So with this, we made this multiple candidates to move forward. Now, the interesting idea was we started from scratch. I'm a scientist, basic scientist. I'm a chemist. So we started from the lab. We synthesized these materials. We work with them, with the cells, then with the animal studies, then all the way to human. So the data that you see here is that it went into the clinic. That was the interesting part in my story here. Now, how did it happen? It happened with a startup. So the original idea started with basic research at academia. This is at Boğaziçi University in Istanbul, and a center for targeted therapy technologies. and then all the way to human was brought up by a company that was founded now 10 years ago that is called RS Research. So this RS Research with world-leading expertise in with advisors and the management team, and I really wanted to show you the people actually behind who made all of this possible. So all these, mostly ladies, are many of them scientists, managed to take this research idea and move it to human. Now, what is very interesting, while you are looking at their, eyes with shiny eyes, that they are very excited about what we do, I want to share you something interesting in this whole story. So taking something all the way from basic research and moving it to human in terms of medicine, forget about cancer, in any other field also, was not ever done in Turkey before, okay? So this is the very first molecule that came from scratch, literally, research, basic research, and made it all the way to human. Now, with this idea, it sounds like, oh my God, you have never done this in Turkey? There are less than 10 countries in all of Europe who have taken research molecules and made it into human. So it's more rare than you think. Why didn't we do it before? We kind of believed that we cannot do it because it's too expensive, too many years, we need more expertise. We just didn't have all of those things. That's what we believed in. So this whole thing became building of an ecosystem and then making it possible. So this is the picture of, these are cells, by the way, for those who are not biologists. Each of these blues are the centers of your cells, and the brown ones, brown cells, are the tumor ones where our medicine went and stuck to the cells. Those are the tumors. Now, this is the wall of the production facility. So since we didn't have the means to produce it anywhere else in Turkey, or pretty much most of Europe, there are few facilities that was possible to make this material. Only 2 in all of Europe, by the way, which I won't get into the details on those. We had to set up our own production facility in Istanbul as well. So this is the entrance to that, this is the door, and this is the people really doing the work in there. So this is the very first production facility to make all these nanomedicine kind of things for chemo, especially in the clinical batch versions. And this is what we produce there. Now, what I want to highlight for you is we started with the idea that we are going to make a difference for patients. So for each and every patient that is receiving our medicine right now, I'm very excited, humbled that they are given these medications. But then that's really, the early access is critical for many of our countries, especially in the southeast region of Europe. The newer medications are not coming in for diseases that are time is of essence. We are not receiving them as early as many other countries. But it gave us, not only for the patients, but it gave us an impact. It made us make an impact on capacity building as well. So this is the first phase 1A or phase 1 oncology clinical trial that was designed and done in Turkey. So all patients done in Turkey. After us, in the same hospital, there has been now 13 new phase 1s started. So once you demonstrate that you are capable of doing something, it follows. Impact on infrastructures, of course, the production facility is there. Many GLP animal facilities are there. When we first started these, the toxicity studies were done in many different countries in Europe, but was not available in Turkey. And then, of course, impact on value creations, the economics. We started from practically a company with no value. Now we have the company valuation bringing in money. And most important, more important than that, the people that I just showed you are very interested in doing very critical research and then moving it into human. the manpower in the economy, I think, is more important. And of course, this impact on the ecosystem, what I believe is the biggest impact that we managed, it's the hope that, look at her, if she could do it, I can do it too. So out of everything that I have done, I think the impact on patients, impact on the rest of the infrastructure, hospitals, whatnot, the biggest impact is now with the younger generations who are looking at this and saying, oh, the most difficult one, a cancer, chemo, nanomedicine, targeted, all of those combined, and she did it, come on, then anything is possible. So I like to tell my story and end it saying, especially the people who are watching, students who are watching this video, that anything that you dream, that it is, that you want to do it, it's possible. So hang on and work. So for all the lady scientists, and if you're interested in looking at the company's information, there it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for giving us the opportunity to present our company. My name is Uroš Đorđević, and I'm the CEO and second generation representative together with my brother in the family company AgroUnic. I will show AgroUnic as a platform for the new product development as it is in part of our mission. First, let's go for a bit of our history. The company has founded by my mother, Professor Snežana Đorđević. She was a professor at Faculty of Agriculture of Microbiology. At the very beginning, 2002, she has exploring the beneficial microorganisms during the PhD thesis, and she realized that he has a formulation that can be useful for a plant promoting and growing. She decided to become an entrepreneur beside being the professor and enter entrepreneurship move, and actually founded the company. First formulation of our product is product Slavol, and it started 2004. This product is actually the first biostimulant and microbiological fertilizer in the region, and she has a really tough job to do in order to educate and to position the completely new technology to the market. This tough job was lasting during the 6 years. And the first really important milestone for us was moving to our own facility and installing the production capacities. And also the milestones was coming, actually spreading in the region. We have founded the companies in Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and North Macedonia. And more interesting for you, actually, R&D part was following up. So the first R&D department in our company was founded actually by EU fund. So we were applying for the Innovation Fund in Serbia for first project for financing our research and development for the new product. And we have founded 2030 BioUnic, which is formalized as a spin-off of the spin-off company, and with the aim to buy equipment and hire experts in needed field to further develop. The second milestone in R&D was actually creating the first biopesticides in the region. This is product Ervix, and also funded by the co-funded with the Innovation Fund from Serbia, and that's actually that was really important for us because we were first on the market with the biopesticides, and actually impact on us to enlarge our portfolio. Today, we are hiring 70 employees. We are export to 13 plus markets in Southeast Europe. We have co-founded with the 4 EU projects, and during those EU projects, also internal projects that we're financing, we have developed 20 plus innovative products based on beneficial microorganisms used in agriculture and environment. Also, we have 5,000 square meters of our own production and logistical facilities, and furthermore, we have developed 2,500 plus customers around this region, which are supporting our development further. Our vision actually is to highlight the challenges and problems in agro sector and environment, trying to use beneficial microorganisms and applied innovative technologies in order to create preparations and products that can help, and also to educate the market, because it's integral part from R&D to the final user. We need to support them and educate. So as a whole, it's our ecosystem. And actually, what we are doing almost 23 years is connecting scientific research, trying to scale up that scientific research, and then create the products that are market-driven and given to the market and given to the end users. Support for that is our value chain. So the engine of our development is R&D. After that, we have our own manufacturing capacities, have logistics and distributions to different sales channels, marketing sector who is actually listening what are the needs and problems we need to resolve, and also sales and technical support to our end user. Our end user are mainly in this moment farmers, but also we see other stakeholders in the environment. Core competence, we are special actually for the really deep knowledge in microbiology, biotechnology, research and development, and we have a knowledge how to scale up the products that are coming from our development based on beneficial microorganisms from the nature. I will show here how the research and development is looking like. So we are working as a project hub. In this month, we are hiring PhD students and different experts from different fields, but also we are open for institutes, universities to come up on our internal projects, but also international one who are funded from different sources. During this development, we have established several labs. So we have a lab for molecular biology with the PCR, microbiology, phytopathology, entomology, and agrochemistry. This agrochemistry lab is actually providing also the services for the soil analysis, silage analysis, and water treatment analysis. Here is our production. So we have installed capacities for production of microorganisms. So here you can see the connected biofermenters at our facilities. We are situated in Serbia, Šimanovci area, industrial area of Belgrade. So here are 5,000 square meters of our own facilities, and also this is the logistics point that is going from all goods are actually going from this point to the countries around. Really important is a team, as it is in every country. So we have 30 agronomists which are covering the regions around, and they're the key team that is transferring and actually educating the farmers, educating the market about our technology, because we are the niche. We are something that is going ahead something which is mainstream, and we need our force to make it closer and to be applied in the practice. I would say our experience with EU projects, so it really helped us, because the structure, the control bodies actually ruled us how we need to design our organization related to R&D. So first project was with the Innovation Fund 2013, as I said.
Recording in progress.
The second was the biopesticides, and the third one was the actually cytokinin products for the apple thinning. All those projects created the results you can see on the right side. These are the products present on the market more than 10 years, and the direct results from the EU funding and collaboration with the scientific community and also business community. I would now say about innovation voucher that we used, which is the subject here in this conference. So we have applied for the innovation voucher together with the Faculty of Biology and Professor Slaviša Stanković, with the aim to create a product which will be used for the wastewater treatment for milk dairies.
Recording stopped.
That is actually the problem is having the really high concentration of oils and fats into the wastewater from the milk dairies that should be treated and could be treated with the microorganisms. So we started firstly with in the first stage of our project. We started to select the bacteria that can be used for this aim. Then we have done the molecular biology testing and trying to find the active one. And what was also important to prove it that in the pilot project it can actually decrease the chemical oxygen demand and biological oxygen demand in the dairy wastewater. The next stage that we have in front of us is actually to try to scale up this product on the industrial level and prove it in the practice. And I would say that this voucher really helped us to come closer to the end of the process of new product development and try to actually bring a new portfolio in our offer, but furthermore and more important for the end user, that we can produce the product which is environmentally friendly, completely green in the wastewater treatment. I really encourage anyone to join the E projects, to actually apply for it, to not be afraid for that, to try to understand the rules. But I think actually that this is one of the ways how we can really enhance the competitiveness of the whole region and actually use the knowledge that is around us. Thank you very much.
I don't need it as I don't have any any presentation. I was not required to do that. I will try to do a short pitch, so for everyone to understand what we have done with the innovation voucher. Dear guests and dear Edit and dear science business team, thank you for inviting us today here and to share with you our experience with innovation voucher. Contracted by our company, PharmaBest Group, which is a pharmaceutical importer and distributor in Albania, a new one, like 2 years ago we started this activity. The Center for Psychosocial and Medical Research in Kosovo, in Pristina, carried out the first large-scale study on natural supplements for mental health in Kosovo. With more than 300 participants, the research center generated unique insights into consumer behaviors, trust levels and market potential, confirming the high demand for safe, scientifically certified nutraceuticals. Targeting some mental health issues that after COVID we have thought were very important to be treated, like insomnia, stress, and especially anxiety. The project stands as a flagship success in bridging academic research, healthcare innovation, and industry collaboration in the Western Balkans. So our collaboration was between our company, PharmaBest, which is situated in Albania, and the research center in Pristina. We are developing our business activity in Albania, and we wanted to establish this business also in Kosovo. But sometimes to do these researches or market studies, you need money to do it and also human resources, which we do not have the capacity, lots of time to do that. So for us, it was really important to have this budget and this project to carry out this study. The findings are already informing product development strategies and policy discussions, offering a replicable model for advancing mental health solutions and strengthening innovation across this region. This project was supported by the Western Balkan Innovation Voucher Call, and I can say that it was a success story. Did we have any difficulties? Of course, as everywhere. I will share something maybe funny with you. I work with my husband, and at first when I find out the voucher, I told him I will apply for that project. He told me, okay, is everything arranged? Come on, don't waste your time. I didn't hear him. I carried out the project. I carried out the project, and I'm here today to share our experience. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm very open to answer it.
So I'd like to say that we have 5 more minutes left from the session. So if you wish, you have the opportunity to ask a question. While you are thinking on the question, I'd like to to ask few people to stand up. I'd like to ask your brother and your mom to stand up to show the family behind the business. Yeah. I'd like to ask the husband of Erida to stand up. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'd like to say that we cannot ask your grandma to stand up, who was very much behind your success story, as I have heard. So on the one side, you have the microeconomy around you, your family, who stimulates you, motivates you to study. And then I'd like to ask now I don't know if the EIT representatives arrived, but if they are here, I really wish to get them stand up. Branka is definitely here. So Branka, you are the one to represent the EIT, because the EIT voucher was absolutely a help. And I'm lobbying now with the Commission that Rana is just applied for the EIC Accelerator project, and I think it's really something really unique project for the future. So with this, if there are no questions, then I'd like to give the community, the widening community, kind of membership for you to do that together.
Just stood up at home.
Good. And now I regain my energy, so sorry for the... it was too hot for me. So now we are arriving to the panel session number 1. So I'd like to ask Andriana Tasevska to come to the stage. Kagri will join us online due to the flight. He wanted to fly today morning from Istanbul to Ankara, and then from Ankara from here. But the Istanbul flight was delayed, so we could not change it. This is why he will be online. I'd like to welcome Branka Žižić, the EIT community officer, who works actually at the Montenegro University. And the moderator, Katarina Halušková. In the program, we have Florin Subescu, but he has got also a flight issue. And Katarina is absolutely a very top value employee of science business. Without her, our reports would not be as perfect as they are. So Katarina, thanks very much to make the moderation. Good luck.
Thank you. All right, perfect. Everybody can hear me. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again also from my side. My name is Katarina, and I'm the moderator of this panel on branching and ripening the deep-rooted collaboration in Southeast Europe. So over the past years, the EU programs such as Horizon Europe, COST, Eureka, alongside also initiatives here, regional ones, such as the Western Balkans Agenda and the Growth Plan, have brought significant opportunities for the region's research and innovation ecosystem. And just yesterday, Commissioner Ekaterina Zaharjeva met with the Western Balkans ministers in Podgorica to deepen collaboration and align the region's policies together with European strategies, from the Startup and Scale-Up Strategy, the ERA Act, and also the European Innovation Act. So today we will explore how far we have come, where we are going, and how we can ensure that regional cooperation continues to bear fruit even stronger and even with faster acceleration in science, innovation, and impact. So joining me today, I have fantastic panelists. So let me introduce them again, that they're representing different ecosystems, also from different countries. We have North Macedonia, we have Turkey, and we have Montenegro. Again, Andriana Tasevska, who's the project leader of the Horizon Europe project called Policy Answers from Innova in North Macedonia. Then we have online Kagri Yildirim, the head of EU Framework Programs Department at TÜBİTAK, which is the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey, and also he's the national contact point and the national coordinator for the EU Horizon Europe program. And we have Branka Žižić, the EIT community officer at EIT Montenegro community and at the Rectorate of University of Montenegro. And she's also the former Director General for Innovation at the Ministry of Science. Sorry, yes. And it's Žižić, right. So Branka Žižić. So let's start by looking at where we are today and looking more closely at what is driving some of the changes on the ground. So let's start with you, Andriana. So through the EU-funded project, Policy Answers, you have been really closely involved in giving support for research and innovation, policy making for the Western Balkans. So please let us know what is the state of the cross-border collaboration between academia and industry in the Western Balkans. How does it look like? And I think you also have a visual for us to see.
Is it now better?
Is it green?
Yeah, it's working? Yeah, okay. We go deep dive straight away with the question, eh?
Yes. Yes, it's a short panel, so we have no time to lose.
Yeah, I was hoping that we can have to be much more on the affirmative side, let's say, but let's deep dive in the context that we have at the moment. Maybe we can see them as two mountains, but also in people, the people from this region, we are quite used to climbing mountains, so I'm sure we're gonna succeed that. The first one I would say, and this is really my point of view, being shortly, if I can say, experience working directly from the project, but previously really being part of the real sector for a very long time. It's the fragmentation that we are facing, and we are all pretty much young economists, if I can say, and to this day, I think we are all, we can be factored as very successful because we are very young and we are still developing, but I don't like the word developing that much because I think it's overused and it probably means something else. What I want to say is that we are constantly climbing, and it's okay to be at this stage. And definitely now we are understanding that before we were together, now a bit more fragmented, and now we come back together. And this, at the moment, the challenges that we are still facing is that some of us, we are a bit further, some of them that we are lacking with maybe some policies or the ecosystem, how it functions. But overall, really, the only mountain that I see is the fragmentation. I think separately we are quite doing such a strong effort, and if we just come in and do and let people do their synergy as their best like that, hence innovation voucher, it does exactly that. You give them something a little bit, then it's all about person creativity and people synergy, and they take it off, and you actually don't know how much of a ripple effect you're going to create. Like we saw Erida and Uroš today, and it's a very long-lasting effect we do with this. And then probably the second mountain I would like to address today would be the limited institutional capacity that the private sector. To be more clear, the private sector engagement with government institution. This is, I think, where we are lacking. And for me, maybe like a solution, simply I would say, we commercialized health, we commercialized nature even. So why don't we just go like science business did? Let's commercialize research and innovation, and probably then the real sector and the government will drive forward. And the innovation voucher, I really do see them as small door, but imagining having constantly small doors, and it's going to be a lot of space for people to put their value in.
So thank you for mentioning the innovation voucher. So exactly, I wanted to deep dive there as well. So please let us know exactly what these innovation vouchers are and how they help to boost this cross-border collaboration between academia and businesses, and what are the outcomes. So it was amazing that we already have heard from the two winners, but let's hear it from you a little bit more about the program.
Well, as I am sure that everyone most of people here, they have heard about innovation voucher. This is not the Eureka new idea that was firstly introduced by Policy Answers project. But nonetheless, the effect that we always have with such program, it's groundbreaking for many people. Probably if we see all the pilot programs or us doing something on a program level through our Policy Answer project, we've affected directly so many people. For example, we have 15 success stories at the moment as Innovation Voucher funded through our project. And they will do their research or they will do their innovation. But then on the other side, 15 more, let's say, have applied for it. So that's all knowledge for them, and next time they will be encouraged. We have specifically asked Uroš and Nerida to come as an example of people that have already participated previously and they have very strong R&D sense in their companies. It means that they are more aware and they, how can I say, this seems more approachable to them. So next time, if we have this permanent innovation voucher schemes in the region, and God wish the regional permanent fund, yes, like a message to all the policymakers. Imagine the cascading, imagine the ripple effect of that. More and more companies will be encouraged, and finally, probably not just for the region, R&D departments are lacking across. Yeah, it's not just our region. So definitely, innovation voucher is a great door between industry, academia, and policymakers. Yeah.
Super.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And since we have Turkey and TÜBİTAK online, and they are not part of the Western Balkan agenda, can they also somehow participate to these innovation vouchers?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you right in a second.
Well,
what are the ways that you can work with also countries like Turkey?
This particular public call was very focused. Only companies from the region could have applied. But we know of, for example, bilateral, other cross-border collaboration like this, and they can work on any level. But definitely, the biggest value of all, and as a future policy recommendation, SHIM recommendation or alignment recommendation, I would say any innovation voucher program should be cross-border. Either it's multinational or bilateral, definitely can help. And for example, with Turkey, most of these Balkan economies, they already have strong connection, and imagine really making this long-lasting relationship between academia and industry. Definitely, it's going to be the next boom and added value. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for emphasizing this. So turning to cross-border to Turkey, Kagri, TÜBİTAK has a very long-standing track record and very successful of managing participation in EU programs. Can you tell us more? How is TÜBİTAK performing in the research and innovation competitions? You can share numbers if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'm very sorry I am not there physically. Unfortunately, as stated before, my flight from the Ankara to Istanbul has been cancelled in a way. So that's the very unpity case. But however, I'm very happy to giving my contribution in this such a valuable event. So my name is Kagri Yıldırım. So let me explain. TÜBİTAK is the main national coordination office of the Horizon Europe in Turkey. So Turkey has a long history in regards to associated partnership with the framework programs. Since 2002, Turkey is the part of the framework programs. So right now, according to latest figures in Horizon Europe, across our ecosystems, more than 1,000 project implementers have collaborated on 723 projects, which is equivalent of the 358 million euro. So our participation rate in this framework program especially increased and skyrocketed. So I am very happy to see that Professor Rana Sanyal is one of the attendees and giving the speeches at this event. We are very proud of her with her prize in the Women Innovator 2 years ago, and we hopefully waiting for the good news for the EIC Accelerator. It's one of the example actually. So success of Turkey in EU framework programs has a very positive spillover to produce the synergies with the ambition of our R&D and innovation ecosystem. As an experienced country associated to the program for over 2 decades, we have obtained multiple benefits. This includes the focusing on the R&D innovation ecosystem in addressing the key challenges, diffusing the priorities for tackling the climate challenge, increasing the impact to support the sustainable development. So, for example, to give one example, one of our first hydrogen valley project has been supported by the Horizon Europe. So there was no any example of the Horizon hydrogen valley in Turkey. So this is one of the positive case in regards to do that. So also I think this is our success in the Horizon is not actually coincidence. Since 2014, actually, we give the specific support programs for the Turkish participants to attend to Horizon. I saw that the innovation voucher, for example, is one of the very good example. So to actually persuade the organizations to apply to Horizon Europe. So we have, for example, coordinator support program or travel support program for the Turkish ecosystem to actually to build up the consortiums or to find the potential coordinators in European ecosystems. So since the beginning of the Horizon Europe, we give more than 1,500 institutions to support, which is equivalent to 3 million euros. So we have the complementary support mechanisms, which affects the actually Turkish success case. So what I can say that alignment of the European research area with the Turkish research area is one of the key success in our ecosystems. So we are working on that.
So yes, Turkey is associated country to Horizon Europe. It's one of the associating countries. So what would you say were the positive impacts on top of those that you just mentioned, or what could be improved for the future?
For the future, this is a very good question actually. You know, 10th framework program, which is again is going to be called as the Horizon Europe. It's very interesting program. So we have been discussing that. So the negotiation process has not started for this new framework program. Especially during this programming period, the European Commission brings some additional instruments or some protective measures for the associated, for the non-EU countries. For example, Article 20.5, or in the new program, we will see the European Competitiveness Fund, for example. It's not clear that how associated countries are going to be part of this new development. So that's why as TÜBİTAK or Turkey, we have been actively working with the European Commission colleagues. So to be part of this restrictive or remove these restrictive measures, or to be part of the additional funding program. So I think as an associated country, we could, especially with the Western Balkan European countries, so because we are the neighboring countries, but not only neighboring countries, are actually potential candidate countries for the European Union programs. So I think we have to work in close collaboration with the European Commission to explain our actually needs and how we can contribute more to do this program, because this is one of the unique program in our neighborhood to be more attractive. So those are the things we can develop it. Other than that, as TÜBİTAK, we are the funding agency. We develop our national programs according to the European Commission expectations. So, but anyway, especially this under the existed framework program, this European Innovation Council, for example, right now as Turkey, we don't have the accelerator. Hopefully Rana Hoca is going to be one of them. So this is our best expectation. But anyway, we have to develop, for example, our innovation ecosystem according to with the European ecosystems. Right now, we are trying to introduce the deep tech concept, for example, in Turkey as one of the condition to support the innovation projects. So, but anyway, there are long ways to take. So I think I can say more than that, but I don't want to take too much time. So thank you very much.
Now I will come back to you again in a short time.
Okay.
So let's turn to the European Institute of Information and Technology, the EIT, and Branca, which is another key player in connecting research, education, business. So Branca is an EIT community officer in Montenegro. You are at the heart of building the local innovation system. So could you, maybe for the people that are less familiar, what is the EIT community and what does a community officer such as you do?
Thank you for this opportunity to talk a little bit about the EIT, European Institute of Innovation and Technology, as one of the key players in connecting the different innovation actors around Europe. I started to work as the community officer since last year, and as I understand, the community is actually everyone who is cooperating within this institute. So the EIT is working in the knowledge triangle model, so universities, research centers, businesses are making this community. Of course, they have their management, they have their thematic areas, they're called the knowledge and innovation communities. But actually the point, the main function of the EIT is really to enable European connections, to enable European cooperations on different scale. EIT is part of Horizon Europe program. It is one part of the innovation pillar of Horizon Europe. So it is dedicated to stimulating innovation and to nurturing talent in innovation all across Europe. When I started to work for the EIT, I understood that the EIT was actually created, conceived as actually European MIT. So the idea of connecting businesses and bringing businesses into these research collaborations is something which is wanted in the EIT, and they want to work similar like in the US, to have like really this short path from research to innovation to the market, and to enhance these collaborations at all levels. So practically we as EIT community officers, we are spread all around Europe now. In the region we have almost all the country has the EIT community officer. So we are actually connectors of these innovation ecosystem. We try to not only pass on the information about the opportunities, but also to see who are the potentially successful actors and to try to bring these successes to live. So EIT has its slogan, it says making innovation happen. And this is actually what we are trying to do. Not like maybe NCP, national contact points, they are just mainly disseminating information, while we are also working on the clients to understand better the context, the programs, to connect with some European partners in some consortia, and to really try to make success out of these collaborations. And I would like to say that EIT is maybe like the first step into European collaborations, really good fit, because it is spread around all around Europe. It has numerous programs, and everyone can find his or her path through it towards some larger European collaborations.
Wonderful. So is this the key success of EIT project? Is that it's maybe the beginning?
Yes,
is easier?
yes. I see it somehow as seeding the seeds of innovation all across Europe, and some kind of supporter for the grassroots initiatives that are happening all around. And then these connectors like businesses, cities, research entities who are working together within this ecosystem. And so they are a networked organization actually, and they're also a membership organization, and that makes these collaborations rather spread and quick and pretty effective, I would say.
And we can always hear this EIT effect. Can you clarify what it means exactly?
I think I've already touched upon that. So this type of close connections, this effectiveness, this shorter period from publication of some opportunity to closing the grant and so on. So this and the whole ecosystem which is built around these collaborations.
Perfect. Thank you for our reiteration so that it's perfectly clear. I have another question also. How is the region doing in terms of participation in Horizon Europe?
Yes, that is also based on my also previous work and background, where I was working as the Horizon Framework Program National Contact Point and coordinator. Actually, this question gave me an opportunity to look at the Horizon Europe dashboard. This is the open data portal of the European Commission, which is excellent, and I recommend to you to go there from time to time and research a little bit. And I saw that actually the region could do much better, is not doing so well as the member states, of course. For example, the region has success rate of about 14%. And the member states have a success rate of around 20% in Horizon Europe. But moreover, the region is collecting only 0.3% of the whole Horizon Europe budget, and the region makes around 3.5% of the population if we would take member states plus the Western Balkan 6. So we should do 10 times better. We should do 10 times better at least, and we can do better. And we see some examples of successes. Okay, I will try. I will also say that something which we are not good at, from what I saw in the data, is that we have quite a few applications, but that we have around 40% of ineligible applications. That tells us that we are maybe even not understanding what Horizon Europe is and what is the context, what is this Brussels story about the framework programs. We are not even guessing that. And I really like that we have Science Business Conference, and I think that we should really all follow this media, because even from here, from Montenegro, by following this media and other types of media, but especially Science Business is like the major Brussels media on this topic, you can learn and you can understand better the whole concept and the context and what is the position of Horizon Europe with respect to other programs of the European Union, and really make your chances much better. And one example from Serbia, because Serbia is doing much better than the rest of the Western Balkan 6, and they have around 15% of success rate. But one single participant from Serbia has a success rate of 98%. I could not believe it. And they gathered 10 million euros from Horizon Europe program. And this is an association for business development, which is called Food Scale Hub. And I think there are we will also hear some other successful participants, but if one association from Novi Sad can attract 10 million euros and have a success rate of 98%, I guess we can all do much, much better, and we can make much better use of all these programs. So there is a lot of space, and I would like to say that if the region is taking 0.3% from Horizon Europe, it is taking 0.6% from the EIT. So it is better, but we have also large room for improvement from the EIT itself.
What other instruments could you, for example, highlight also for this cross-border collaboration? I think when we discussed, it was one of them was Hop-on facility from the Widening.
Yes, of course, the widening part of Horizon Europe is the most attractive for the region, and I guess the best known part of Horizon Europe for the region. But what I would like to stress is that sometimes in the design of these programs, some realities of the region are not taken into account. For example, also through Policy Answers, one of the really great policy briefs that you are producing, it shows the collaboration patterns within the region, and it is one fact that the region most likely collaborates among themselves and among the neighboring countries. So the macro region aspect is very important in collaboration. And for example, in the Hopon facility, that is not allowed. So if you have one widening member in a consortia, another one is not allowed. So this effect of come on with us is not allowed in this part of the program, and I think it should. And one of the reasons why COST program, for example, is very successful in the region is exactly this, that people who are used to collaborate together, who already have networks, are just expanding their networks, are inviting other people to join. And so these are, I think, key ways how the region collaborates.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Maybe I can bring back Kagri on this, and really looking ahead for the future of the Horizon Europe, the next framework program, FP10. What kind of support or adjustments would help associated countries participate more effectively?
Thank you. I think the widening component, I agree on that. Widening component is very important, especially for the widening countries. It should be continued by the European Commission, and it seems like that it's one of the pillars under the FP10. So that's a good mechanism to actually increase the capacity for the region to be involved in the different projects. For example, twinning is one of the example of one of the oldest widening call. It aims to increase the capacity of the host institution in the widening countries. So other than that, in several cases, in some calls, they are compulsory to include the widening participants in some consortiums. Maybe the number of the projects can be increased. So that could be a good opportunity for the widening countries. And it seems that under the widening program also, some countries are widening, but like in the case of Turkey, Greece, or Portuguese, they are widening, but their capacity is very different other than the other widening countries. For example, Serbia is also in the mid-level. I can say that. I confirm the previous comment. So the differentiation on the level of the widening concept could be helpful, but this is under the discussion. I think other than that, for widening countries or candidate country to the Horizon Europe, to the European Union membership, the other thing, complementary fundings are not available. So, for example, structural funds or cohesion funds, and we see the more projects or call topics are asking the additional funding mechanisms. So this is a kind of bringing the limitation for the non-EU member states, who are the widening countries, Western Balkan countries, most of the case. I think the Commission or the relevant partners or relevant institutions should work that how the existing mechanism which is available for the widening countries to make use as the complementary funding. For example, instrumental pro-accession funds could be one of them, or EBRD, EIF programs, etc. But there is no any kind of document or policy guideline document to use such mechanisms. So this is one of the difficulty. So that could increase the participation to the Horizon Europe. This is the several ideas just coming to my mind. So,
thank you very much. Would you like to add anything on this question? Do you have your perspectives on this?
Nothing really. I think I've covered the main issues.
Then I would like to take a step into business and SMEs and ask you, Andriana, do businesses invest enough in research and innovation and development, or are we still too dependent on public investments or public funding? And how can government policies encourage that the private sector will invest more in R&D?
Well, definitely it would probably be a statement from it has been, it will be that R&D is lacking across the board in the private sector. And I don't think so. It's mostly the question speaking simply about money. It's more about human resources. And it's always been, and even now maybe it's even harder. So this kind of help from the government again, having this mountain you need to climb, because most of us that work in the business sector in the Balkan area, we want to say that it feels like climbing Monte Everest without equipment. So this is really how hard it is. So if government really can create these, I don't know, resting, supporting points for their milestones where they can find some resources, definitely I would always say we need to keep it up. Number one is the policymakers. Any innovation vouchers have to be always there because they're perfectly in line with our, how can I say, human nature. It's all about change. So vouchers, innovation, research, this is all about it. It's about change. So maybe a lot of things that we do always have side effects or pros and cons, but the change is the only thing that, and especially in a short term, if we offer those kind of short, small vouchers, it's enough, and you don't even, no one will blame you, let's say, that you are now want to systemize or go back to administer economy again. That's why those small pieces, supporting pieces are going to be very important. But also as a message I want to say the challenge that I've explained previously, the limited capacity that our public institutions have to engage private sector is more of like, let's have more research center, let's have transfer technology centers, let them be also private, let them be very profitable, and maybe even the simplest way say, let professors or researchers sell their know-how for very good money, and probably the whole cycle will work for itself, you know, like what Adam Smith wanted to say, laissez-faire, so it will happen, the magic will be there. But policy, academia and industry, that triangle needs to be constantly supported as a base from any economy itself and in the region. For example, I can say about Turkey, they go everywhere, they expand. Someone can say they have a huge market already in the country, so why they are going outside? But it's all, at the end, it's all about the change and know-how and exchange. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Branka, would you like to add anything to this?
Yes, this collaboration definitely is a key factor, and also from the story of smart specialization strategies that we were hearing in the introduction from our keynote speaker, we see that these collaborations are happening more and more, and when these policies are designed together jointly, then they are definitely more relevant and more enabling.
Sorry, Branka, she just mentioned, what is the food scale?
Hub. Yeah.
So it just popped in my mind. There was an estimate that applied for our program, and they couldn't be funded because their partner, the university partner, pulled out. And that's why we are recommending permanent phasing. But she's now actually part of that, and her research will be funded through that. So every single value that we had across the system, the estimates that really want to do the research and innovation, they will find us. So
yes,
and it's a small region, so this
definitely the capacities are so small that these collaborations are essential. We cannot do without it. It's always especially in Montenegro, we have so many very small companies, and R&Ds cannot be a separate department in such companies. So these type of collaborations are just the only way to do.
Fantastic. I mean, it's great that there's a lot of great practices already happening and a lot of great collaborations. But we have touched on the fact that yes, it's maybe a bit more difficult. It's still lagging behind, and we need more acceleration or faster progress. So, Branka, can you tell us maybe how can the region make sure its voice is heard also towards the negotiations of for the FP10?
Well, of course, there are the formal ways how to make one country's voice heard in the European Commission through the participation in these program committees of the framework programs. I'm not so up to date now to know how that is working, whether that is something which is really dynamically happening, because I have not discussed those topics with the ministry. That is their remit. But definitely each voice that is articulated in the right way and supported by a community by writing about these things, be it on a personal social media page or web post, whatever way, in one way or another it becomes heard. Also, we are lacking maybe research in that social sciences sphere. So to be supported from the side of the research, and definitely those fields are something which is very interesting for researchers. Hopefully there will be more of such researchers in the region who are thinking and researching about EU support programs and so on. But all of us, with all we do, with all we speak, can of course have some kind of impact. So just, we should just open up and do something, whatever we can.
Thank you very much for this. So we do have a little bit more time, and I do have a couple of questions, but I was wondering if anybody from the audience that we have here in person would have a question for the panel. So if you would like to ask any question, please raise your hand, and we have a microphone, and my colleague is just coming with the mic. Perfect. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good afternoon, colleagues. Do you hear me? Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Agota David from the European Commission. I will be happy to moderate a session later on, so you will learn more about me, but this is now about your panel, and I'm really wondering how this fragmentation that was mentioned by Adriana, and I'm asking all of you, what do you think, how you could join forces more and in a way, then your joint voices could be also heard better, what was described now by Branka. Thank you.
Who would like to take the floor?
Yeah,
yes,
probably I can do. So I guess proudly I would say meter by meter, to be honest. Western Balkan is a still family-based society, I would say. And with the 5 pilot project activities that we have on the policy answers, we definitely have touched 200 families, I can say. We had 23 sponsored early career researchers through one pilot program, then 15 success story, 30 have applied. We also had a fellowship program inside, and this is it. We touched families, and this is a very much connected region. So I would say we start like that in micro with fragmentation, and then the policymakers can do the umbrella, definitely. And like I said, I had a business idea coming to the innovation voucher that is now part of probably another program. And yeah, this is it. I don't think we can make a big boom and then just fragmentation is poof gone. Definitely. But if we do the right thing every single day and every single time we can, and probably, sorry, like Branka, I think Chari, that's how you pronounce your name, sorry, if I'm correct. And yeah, if we still put our love and passion and energy and many other people in this room, I'm pretty sure that fragmentation will slowly fade away, but maybe not totally, because we still need a lot of diversity, yes? There's always pros and cons and everything, so yeah, that would be, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Branka, would you like to add on this?
No, I think it was a really great message for the end.
Very well. Kagi, are you okay, or would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I'm totally fine, because, you know, Turkey is a kind of unique case. We are not part of the either Western Balkan network or the Eastern Partnership, but I totally agree on that. So the small steps are always causing the spillover effect. I closely follow up this policy project. I think they did a great job. In the end, it's gonna be this fragmentation is gonna be unique voice. So we are closely following up as Turkish ecosystem.
Super. Do we have any other burning question in the back?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a bit less of a question, maybe, but an invitation or also an answer. I do think that further calls from the side of the Commission are always helping as well, that are targeted. And the better targeted they are, the more they overcome this fragmentation. I coordinate this Policy Answers project, and I would like to mention that I think there is a call, or there has been a call open that addressed enlargement countries. So the follow-up to the Western Balkans, Info Hub or Policy Answers will be whatever project will be selected, but it will address enlargement countries. So we look forward to projects collaborating with Turkey as well, with Moldova, Ukraine, and the Western Balkans, and addressing even more this fragmentation. And another aspect was that it is sometimes difficult to reach people who are not completely overwhelmed with their work and their activities. We have had an FP10 policy brief out, and we want to update that. That would be one channel of how each of you can discuss with us in the project and also share your opinion, and we will disseminate this in a policy brief as well. So we're here to listen, and everyone who contributes with opinions, we will take that up.
Maybe we can put it in the comments of the filming of this conference, this
yes,
invitation.
And I will publish an invitation on the Western Balkans Info Hub with my address, and then you're welcome to get in touch.
Yes, please do that. And then we also have a lot of coffee breaks and networking later, so you can address anything. Another question, maybe? Denny here,
here
in the front.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, first of all. I was wondering, we are a company that is newly becoming member of the EIT Culture and Creativity, and we are an artistic company. So we are a research and development center for the arts both in Istanbul and also here in Montenegro. And I was wondering, what is the new agenda for the artistic growth in the European Union system, or in general, the Horizon Europe, EIT? Like, how should we place as an artist community inside this whole beautiful, innovative things that we have been watching for the last 2.5 hours at this point? Thank you.
Sorry, Branka, you can.
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, we saw a development of a game, and it was about Skopje 1983. And they actually spent most of their money on the artists who were drawing Skopje in 1983 for their game. So it's just like a really direct idea, and I do think so. This will be a great, someone draw, someone made it, so it was 2-3 artists really engaged quite in the development of the video game. So yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I don't have an answer just like from my sleeve to give it to you, but it would take some time. But of course, there is the Creative Europe program. This is a special program of the European Union for the creative sector. There is also a part of Horizon Europe which is dedicated to culture and heritage. And it works mainly on research and development in that field, and also on coordination support actions in that field. There are national contact points in Montenegro for this part of the program who can dive deeper with you maybe to see what are the concrete opportunities. And of course, you are getting more acquainted with the EIT culture and creativity. So I think these are like the three major entry points for you, and then you just start understanding how that actually works, and you just get connected with the different networks, and it just goes from one stage to the next. I'm sure you will make it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is there anything that Mr. Yildirim would like to say?
Thank you. Is it eco design I am talking? No? So actually today we just received the new European Bauhaus cohort is finalized under the EIT Jumpstarter. So one of the company, Ecodo Design Studio, is the finalist, one of them. So I think EIT Jumpstarter is one of them. You can benefit. In addition to my colleagues mentioned that maybe New European Bauhaus is a kind of a new initiative. Actually, it's more than now 3 years. So in there, especially the artistic or the need of the cities according to the Bauhaus concept is supported. So this is a new community and it's very open. So you can be part of the New European Bauhaus network. That's the suggestion I can add it in addition to Cluster 2 and EIT, New European Bauhaus kick. That's the first thing it comes to my mind.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you very
I'm
sorry, we are quite late in time, so I would prefer to...
We have from Cost, one question from Cost. Yeah.
I really think we have to, let's take this maybe during the break, because we really need to follow with the event, because we have a lot until 6 p.m. But let me just quickly, I have one last question for you, but if you can answer it in maybe one sentence, and that is, if we look ahead 5 years, what would success look like for the Southeast Europe research and innovation ecosystem, and what would make you say we have really ripened those roots of collaboration? Any final thoughts?
I would just maybe say one thing related to the better institutional position of people who are working in the EU projects, and somehow strategy of institutions, organizations, companies that take account this really big opportunity.
Thank you. Adriana?
For me, definitely would be something that we have already started with my dear colleague Sanja. We have now 5 RNI ambassadors, and I would like all of us to become RNI ambassadors, because as much as more we talk, more people become aware of it, and every single energy will help in that. So
wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. And Kagri?
For the Southeastern Europe, or including the Turkey?
Yes, included. Yes, of course.
Including the Turkey. So I think integration with the European research ecosystems of this region could be a success. So in 5 years, I see lots of opportunities. So I believe the increasing rate of the participation will be very success.
Thank you very much. Amazing. So it's clear that the region really needs and depends on deep collaboration and shared vision and trust. So I really hope that we will make sure that we keep nurturing these collaborations to make it really a strong ecosystem. And please thank you or give a big thanks to our panelists, Adriana, Branka, and Kagri. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Which brings now, before the break, we are moving back to the success stories. I'd like to ask Mirela Ashani, who is the management committee member of the multilingual, multimodal language generation from the COST Action, and Vladimir Mrjakic, the science communication coordinator and management committee member from Truith Cruz COST Association also. Yeah, so now we have the 2 success stories supported by the COST Association, and this is why I invited Elke also to the floor. So you sit there, and yeah, I think that you no, I think it's better.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can have the other one. Good. Dear organizers, congratulations on your 20th anniversary of Science and Business. Honorable audience, what a privilege among more than 1,600 COST members from Albania to be a representative here, but even 1,000 others there from the big COST family. Well, I just came, as a matter of fact, from another presentation of COST, and it's the same multi-3 generation COST action, but truly I could talk endlessly, passionately and enthusiastically about COST, because it's a unique basket of opportunities which has offered very much opportunities and possibilities to scholars in the region, in Albania, Western Balkan, and everywhere. Well, since I'm given some minutes, I'll just go briefly to 2 of the main points I'd like to specifically point out as an advantage, a unique opportunity from COST Association. Well, I joined 2019 among other Albanians, where Albania became a full member of COST. And it's so beautiful to be treated equal, full member among equals. And coming from my country, we are desperately longing, finally, to be given the full trust like the others. Though we were, some of us, still in the beginning of our career path, so our growth witnessed gradually the growth of COST in the region, and in my case, in Albania as well. And to my, further motivation, immediately in 2 years, I was asked to be a vice chair of this multi-3 human language technology-oriented COST at that time, following the post-COVID pandemic lockdown. And it totally revitalized my esteem, my capacities, and definitely I said, Mirela, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. Do the best for your country through the opportunities of COST. And trying to align university, where I'm a university professor, with industry, science, research, and industry, there's another component, an added value of COST. We take it for granted. We just put their research and innovation. But for academics, apart from growing and making us confirm somehow scientists in the arena, in the international academic arena as well, building trust for further spillover and follow-up collaboration for Horizon, for other COST proposal writings, Erasmus mobilities as well. It's a beautiful transitional bridge because there is trust of being equal among the others. But definitely the added value is interdisciplinary that I'd like to tackle today. It's such a unique scientific platform which make us reflect, in this case, for example, compatibility of university programs with the market, with the industry. In that case of human language technology multi-3 generation COST action, I came out with proposals and changes to the curricula, both at computer engineering at my university, an international one in Tirana, and at the philology English department to bring their computational linguistics through those speakers, through those esteemed colleagues, where they had already built a tradition. And somehow, so COST has got some wonderful side effects that we somehow take for granted. They are reforming our university programs. They are approaching them to the industry, to the most, to the trends and to the market. That's the case of computational linguistics and human language technology today, and the core of interdisciplinary to reform our traditional cathedrals at university. So thank you, COST, so much for being such a wonderful basket with all these fruits inside it. And thank you for giving me the opportunity again. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for inviting me, and happy 20th anniversary. I'm happy to be here today as well, second time today to speak about cost action, but actually I will try to reflect about between cost action and Horizon Europe project or Horizon project. Actually, I'm Vladimir Kajic, coming from a company called Innocent Small Medium Enterprise from Novi Sad, and we are one of that success story from Novi Sad, and we are really quite connected to that organization that you have been mentioning. Actually, that organization partly became from the people from Innocence, went from Innocence and merged another, but the most successful organization is Biosense, and Innocence became from Biosense, from Innocence became something else, so success story is just going on and going on. So my professional journey starts break from academia, and I went from academia 8 years ago, 2007, after completing my PhD postdoc study, being at the University of Novi Sad Faculty of Technical Science. I decided to move to Innocence and to departure from writing scientific paper, actually to write proposals and to implement project. There is no so big difference in a nutshell, I would say, but actually still, yeah, is a difference. So cost action helped me a lot. Being a member of one cost action is which called Fruit Cruise, which is dealing with fruit trees and their resistance to climate change, and about irrigation technology, how we can deal with all those ongoing problems. It helped me a lot as I'm a scientific communication coordinator. Being scientific communication coordinator give you a really important chance to improve your knowledge from communication and dissemination, but as well to connect with other people from region. I received many, it was 5, 6 really high value training in Brussels that was covered by cost action, and actually that helped us a lot as well to boost our company capacity and to do dissemination communication Horizon project between other things. But as well, what is this more important, like just being good in what you're doing, being yourself, being people from Balkan, from this region. Like I believe that all of us, that all of the country here has really nice and good experts. So simply doing what you usually do, but you have like the platform to promote yourself in the cost action, for example, and then you're getting invited in some nice Horizon EU proposal with the partners, especially with the, let's say, Western Europe, who has like maybe university partners who has really good support from the university. So the key expert can do the science, can do excellence in the Horizon Europe project part, while they have the backup from their office to do all administration, business, budgeting, etc. So I believe that that is a really big problem in our institution, generally research institution, because that scientists do not get that support. And I heard many times that scientists are full of idea that they have what to offer and all that, but simply they do not have enough that support from the university of other, mainly public institution. So in that sense, we have to find a creative way to overcome that immediately, or like to do much more strategic support to those organizations, simply because sometimes it's not a matter about science. We are good in science. We can have access to many different research and journals and all that, but actually sometimes the problem is really is more about management, how we will overcome that. So maybe some great scientific groups from Montenegro just need like several business planner or administrator, like who did the several training from the EU funding that is numerous, free of charge. So just about that. So all in all, again, reflecting to cost action, that is like, as it will be more speak about that, is really good platform to enter the first league, like Horizon Europe project in the sense of financing and all that. And I recommend to all of you, people from Montenegro region, so to try to go there, because one of the important KPI of all cost action is well how many applications is like for the Horizon Europe project or any other. So in that sense, like it's really beneficial. And actually we are building that specific, really maybe the most important part of the project, that first part, excellence part. So like just keep doing and applying for cost action. And of course for cost representatives, please keep supporting us, especially this region. More or less, that is my message, and thank you once more for listening, and if anybody has a question now or later, I'm here to answer. I think I'm okay. So, eggs for us?
Technical announcement that now we are going for a break, but because we have 5 minutes ahead, I'd like to ask you back at 5 o'clock instead of 5:05, which is in the program. So we will continue at 5 o'clock, and yeah, please come back and enjoy the rest. Thank you. So welcome back, and welcome also to the online participants. You are very structured because we are back in time, so we are very good. Before we start, I'd like to give you one feedback from the previous session. Somebody mentioned to me that collaboration is probably not the perfect word, and we have to think how we can get from the collaboration to the co-creation. And the collaboration means that you are a small, tiny part of the European project, and the co-creation is that you are equal at the table, as it's in the case of cost. Yeah? So maybe we just learn from the linguistic approach that collaboration slowly have to be phasing out and use the co-creation and fight for co-creation. Not science business, because we are just a platform, yeah? So we cannot represent views, but the feedback from the community goes back to the other parts of the community. So now, I'd like to welcome the two speakers, Marat Fatkulin and Ann-Catherine Roth from SciDEV. And I will tell a short story. In our annual meeting in science business, we always have the session on the widening. And SciDEV promised to us in February last year to come up with a presentation about the widening countries, that how we perform and what the data shows. And then the community was very surprised that the data was from the EU 27. Yeah? And then we discussed it. It was a question. Sorry, you led the panel. Yeah, I remember you led the panel. So then we were approached by SciDEV offering us to put together the data set for the Southeast Europe, and namely the Western Balkan countries. You will see it from the presentation. So we do not have only sponsors or partners helping us with in-kind, but this is a special high added value in-kind support to the community that first in the history, SciDEV collected the data just for the widening community as a contribution to the project. So I do not know who will start. I'd like to welcome Ann-Catherine Roth and Marat Fatkulin to make their presentation. And of course, the data will be available for the community afterwards. Thank you.
I'm very glad to be here. So I'm Ann-Catherine Roth. I have that hat of strategic. I need a mic. I'm glad it's better that way, but it shouldn't be too close. Okay, thank you. So, thank you for welcoming us here. We are very honored to be there as a partner of the Science Business and Science Business Widening Group. Myself, I have that hat of strategic engagement across Europe, Middle East, and Africa for bespoke project when we talk about understanding with the data, who is doing what with whom in research and innovation. I'm also a very proud member of the Science Business Widening Group. There is a lot of synergy, and anytime I join the group, I feel really very inspired to go back to my work. So we have half an hour, a bit less, 25 minutes. Thank you, Edith, for the addition. I will be joined by my colleague Marat after that. So in a nutshell, what we would like to present to you is indeed to shed light on how the data can help for understanding the journey, typically on the region, on the widening country, going wider. I will start here with going back to the principle of the widening instrument, so the funding instrument from Europe towards the widening country, so not only the member state, but also the associated country. Just going back to the basic, going back to what is the purpose. Of course, this is to raise the participation to Horizon Europe, but beyond that, this is to reduce the disparities in research and innovation capacity across Europe. It's about integrating the widening country in the era. I like that one. Strengthening local research and innovation ecosystem and infrastructure. Local impact for better competitiveness and outside. And it's also about combining the excellence and the collaboration in research projects. Of course, the mechanisms are there for a while, so there have been some good progress, even if I understand that in some cases, how much you said? It's better, we could do 20 times better for Montenegro. But still, it's a journey, it's getting better. Thinking about the participation, thinking about the success rate, there is a path. However, what about the impact of that? What about the consequence on those research and innovation ecosystem? This is not so clear to me. And I feel that in the current situation, with all the challenges related to the negotiation ahead for FP10, the challenge for widening country, the 2 tiers of country for the member state, what about also eligibility for the associated countries? In that context, being equipped as much as possible, having weapons with tangible facts and figures can only help. But beyond the discussion in Europe for lobbying, negotiating, whatever, it's also monitoring progress. I guess that can be something that could resonate, not only national level, but also for institution, for project people and PI. So it really depends on what you want to do, but that could definitely help. And beyond that, there is also that global context about the position of research in the whole world. Research cannot live in isolation. What we have asked by our partners, would that be government, would that be funders, would that be institution or PI, they're asking how we can raise research performance. Obviously, it is not in one day. This is where we have distinctive strengths that we can play on, smart specialization typically, or key strategic areas. Thinking about fostering collaboration, the power of that network effect is unbelievable. So for each of this, the brain drain challenge for attracting, retaining talent, this is something we are hearing in so many places. And this is where having a diagnosis about where you stand and understanding what can be the journey, what would be your objective to achieve, this is something where the data and the methodology could help. This is the good news. There are a possibility to track more and more things with plumbers of data, let's say. So I guess now I'm going to pass the floor to Marat, my colleague, in order to share some data related to the region, what we see today. Marat will also share some of his thoughts about the journey. And then I will go back with a few tangible, concrete examples how some nations are leveraging those data, how they grab this in order they turn into something tangible for their discussion within the country, for the research and innovation ecosystem, in the district, in the region, in the city, and also going back to their funders.
Well, thanks for all coming back after a nice coffee break. Thanks for organizers, and thanks Anne-Catherine. So let me introduce myself. My name is Marat Fathulin, and I'm Government Relationships Vice President in Elsevier for Africa, Middle East, Central Asia, and Eastern Europe. But also I'm a mathematician, so I like numbers. And when I'm working for this big region, which is universal because it is, let's say, the emerging market. So many governments really want economic growth and dream of innovative economy. They want something like Silicon Valley. So they realize that the research should be in a heart of framework to attract education and then money but they realize that something sometimes not working quite well. So transforming universities into entrepreneurial mode, raising its visibility, academia-industry collaboration, that what helps universities to contribute back to country GDP, not just ask for more money from governments. That's what governments want. Full stop. Let's move to mature Europe and look at rankings. Out of top 10 best universities in the world, times higher education, OQS, despite the fact that we don't like this exercise, are from UK. They are doing something quite well. It's not the richest country in terms of number of pounds or dollars or number of academics. Let's say China or US overbeat them, but 4 out of 10 are there, and we can something learn. So we did this exercise, and we are happy to share some of those insights. But let's start with strategy. Strategy is something like where we are now and where we want to be, our ambitions, and what we should do and what we should not do. But I want to focus on where we are. We need some numbers. As I said, I like mathematics. And yeah, because in mathematics, we need to have some robust data, something that you can really rely on, and it's a number of publications, citations, and percentage of international cooperation. Oops. Yeah, thanks. Oops. It disappeared. It's still there. Yeah, it's there, but not there. Yeah, thank you. But it should be this slide. Ah, it's not working. Here. Yeah, but I need the previous slide, and it's not working. Technology that should support sometimes fail. Yeah, it's not again on the screen, sorry. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know how much you agree or disagree with me about the strategy, and I pointed there the euro sign, which means that everything at the end is calculated by a number of dollars. If your university or your ministry has a lot of dollars or euro, then you can invest in research, then you can invest in cooperation, then you can change the world and make more impact. That's where probably many universities are thinking. And while we are trying to fix technology, I'm trying to, to a little bit play. So probably what I'm saying is impacted because I'm based in Dubai, and Middle East, as you know, is investing quite a lot. Yeah, thanks. I think now it works. Let me check. No, okay. Okay, so there was this slide that was showing Western Balkans countries, and let's say University of Belgrade is responsible for 35% of share of those countries. But when we are doing zoom out, we can see that surrounding countries are giving quite more publications output. At the same time, we see that our world, I want to say it, our family world, is quite good in terms of quality. So when we zoom, we realize that this quality is mostly driven by international collaboration, which is great. Let's go to our hosting country, and we will share more slides about all countries in this world, but this is just about Montenegro. So we can see that there is more than 3,300 papers which were published during the 5 years, and around 1,600 authors with a high quality of papers. Is it good or bad numbers? Well, it means that 2 papers for 1 academic in 5 years. Probably that's a little bit a challenge. Data don't tell us anything by themselves. Let's benchmark. And this is the field-weighted citation index, which said that Western Balkans are much better than EU average. Probably a very good point. We will come back to this point a little bit later. It's mostly driven by international collaboration. Again, we are ahead of EU average. But when we think not about fundamental research, like there is a fundamental research, applied research, and commercialization, we see that we are losing, we are as a Western Balkans here, to EU average. So probably applied research with corporations is a matter of challenge for us. We go deeper when we go to commercialization. The papers that are cited into the patents, we see that it's not much. So probably we are really focusing on fundamental research, and then someone is making dollars or euro on this. This is again about social arts and humanities, number of citations in policy documents of EU. And there is a case study after a little bit of mathematics. So I was talking with one of ministers, and we had this review, which shows that number of publications is growing. Number of good quality publications in top 25% is really great. We tried to look into, we tried to split this data. We tried to look, is it driven by internal domestic research or international collaboration? And we even added the mega science collaboration. We have representatives of CERN here, and we will talk about this a little bit later. So we looked about citations, the quality of papers that are produced. And again, I will remind, we are talking with a minister who is investing money into the university and the research system of the country. It is interesting point that the country claims that they want to be #1 in computer science and artificial intelligence in the region. But there are more but the 4 biggest areas are physical sciences, is engineering, life sciences, and health. Well, it's good for the government, for the region, it's good because you are producing something for economy. That was the idea of the minister. I hope that you can see some slides, but I can see. So when we deep dived into the data, we realized that mega collaborations in 3 most advanced fields like medicine, engineering, and physics are making up to 60% of publications and citations. So, I mean, it's not the domestic research, it's not the regional research, it's just being part of this mega collaboration. And when we are talking about medical healthcare system, it's not that you are something producing, it's you are participating in the 3rd part of a clinical trial or the 3rd stage. Again, you are just submitting biomaterial, but not really contributing to the country economy, what they want. We tried to do the graph methods modeling for this, and we just saw that one university is a connector, is a bridge between the country universities and the rest of the world. Again, that's a challenge that you can think of and make other decisions. We deep dive a little bit more. We tried to look at number of researchers in this country, 22,000. We took 22 researchers. 15 of them are working in CERN, which means that they're part of the big research. But do they bring this research back to the country? Do they make the schools, engineering schools around it? That's the question. Another good example, 5 out of 22 authors already have other affiliations, probably living in other countries, and that's the problem of a brain drain. So that's a key finding from my presentation, which is mostly, let's look into the data. That gives us the status quo where we are, and then we can dream what our ambitions, and then try to make a story or the strategy how to achieve this. Thank you very much. If you will have any questions about the data, please refer to me, and I'm giving the floor back to Anne-Catherine.
I have another good news. You don't need to be a bibliometrician having practiced for 10 years for leveraging the data. Of course, it's good to go very in depth, clearly, but it's also good to see how that can be beneficial from the policymakers to some other stakeholders. So this I will pass. That was just refreshing your mind. Accountability and impact. This is all about what we are hearing about. Showcasing the value is important. Making visible the talent, making visible the stories. And the data can help with tangible. As soon as they can be understood with the wider public. This is very important to work on that. And this is part of our responsibility as a provider for the data, to think about what are the questions and how we can help. Here are a few examples that I wanted to share with you. I picked up a few because they are not regular example. It's not the US, it's not China. We are thinking about other territory who take seriously the fact that data could help them. Senegal is my first example. So what we created is an analytical dashboard about what's happening in research. The key thing is to monitor progress. It's useful, so the counterpart, it's the Center for Scientific and Science Communication, but it's also the minister and the ministry. So there are different dimensions. You can see research excellence, collaboration, research impact in blue, research culture, and also institution. In each tab, you have different information. So the publication, number of publications, citation is only one piece of the puzzle. It goes far beyond. And this is where they need to have some different thing. The one thing I would like to mention, so collaboration is, of course, geographical or cross-sector. What is the collaboration with the corporate sector, for instance? But another thing I wanted to mention here is, if there is one metric which I think is very relevant, is interdisciplinarity. If you think about a specialization policy, if you think about in that region, they are not good at that. In that region, they are super good at understanding what's happening with the crops and green agriculture. They need to understand what's happening also to gather the stakeholders. So social sciences here, artists, all that interdisciplinarity thing, this is where we see more and more needs. So this is a need to track this. And mentorship, last one, I cannot resist to mention that one as well. Mentorship is how many senior researchers are related to junior ones. And thanks to the data, the little metadata that we have, we can track that kind of thing. So all in all, in a nutshell, it helps the policymakers for having a comprehensive understanding about what's happening, being able to zoom or de-zoom, because the helicopter view is not enough. It's about shaping some research strategy, so here, specialization, and it also fostering the dialogue. When they go back to the World Bank, and we can make a parallel with some funder we have somewhere in the room here, that we want to go back to Europe also with some tangible thing. Ooh. Mm-hmm. I wanted to move to the, oh, it's back. It looks like many time ago we were, doesn't work. Can you put it back for me? That was the most important one. Just out. The next example I wanted to share is related to a district called University College London. You heard of that? It's not because this is London. It's because they do have that responsibility for connecting the stakeholder within the knowledge district quarter. There are many, many stakeholders that want to gather, but they don't monitor everything. They monitor the key areas where they think they have a strategic ambition, where they know they have a distinctive advantage. And there they play on different dimensions and they compare with other players. I will skip, I said exactly that to you. So a lot is about mapping those challenges and getting to an innovative metrics, innovative way. Another example is in Sweden. Again, here we're not talking about research, we're talking about the innovation agency, the innovation funding agency, want to understand what data could help to foster international cooperation on those key technologies they're interested in. So we are delivering to them some dashboard related on, each dashboard is on one piece. Here this is on AI, fundamental research, applied research, and relation with social sciences. And where are they good? What are the hot topics? And who could be the one with whom to partner because they're on the same topic worldwide? That's the kind of thing they're after. So it's, again, data is only data, but that will confirm or infirm what they could have in mind. And the one we are missing, my favorite is from Egypt. We have been doing intensive work with Egypt. Egypt, they have an amazing database of publication called Egyptian Knowledge Bank. Everything open access, crazy useful for all the stakeholders and beyond Egypt for many Arabic countries. So we have been creating some platform or data in order they could shed more light on Egyptian researchers, visibility on the researchers, visibility on the local Arabic content, which was completely hidden, not visible on the international scene. And based on that, one critical aspect, beyond connecting with the patent data, with the funding data, what we delivered is a mobility tracker, because the diaspora is everywhere. The brain drain is super serious. How they monitor who are the people? Okay, tax incentive, fair enough. How are they going to get the people back? So before that, maybe they can leverage the diaspora, how they got to the right collaboration with the right people in the strategic area for the country. And then they can track that mobility. This is exactly the slide I wanted to show the most. I will try another time, but no, it doesn't work. So anyway, we'll share the presentation. And if you have any question, of course, you can connect with us. Thank you.
Thanks so much for collecting the data and showing for us. I think it's really a role model for the enterprises that Elsevier turned to be member of the Widening group. I hope that more companies of science business and other companies will feel the social corporate responsibility to increase and to add to the widening regions. I think we are moving to that direction. And with this now, I'd like to come to our two keynotes coming in after each other. So I'd like to welcome Mrs. Asche Gornicka, President of Coast Association from Oslo. So we came from the very Nordic part of outside of the European Union to the south part of outside of the European Union, to the Western Balkan. Asha, thanks very much to being with us, and we really hope we will enjoy your speech very much. And I'd like to say in front of you, in front of everyone, that being in Brussels, I work with Coast Association for a long time together. And if there is a long-standing cooperation for the scientists, I think that Coast is definitely one to mention in the region first. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening, everyone. I think I'm going to allow myself to comment on two keywords. That's the title of this seminar and conference, and that's knowledge and that's impact. And but I also, of course, I cannot help myself. I have to talk a little bit about the cost as well. When the cost was established in 1971, it was a major fork in the road for the European level cooperation in research and technology. So the landscape was a bit empty in this policy area at the European level. So, and that has so incredibly changed over the years with in the 50 plus years that's gone since COST was established. Never before have we had so much access. You saw the figures from Elsevier. So much access to scientific knowledge and pieces of knowledge. What's the guesstimate now? Is it 5 or 7 million journal articles published per year? Something like that. And the number of scientists just increased incredibly. The number of PhDs that on the whole PhD education has changed quite dramatically, especially in Europe. I would say, having been a pro-rector at the University of Oslo for 8 years, there's been explosion of expectations directed towards especially the universities. And so the universities have become sort of a transversal problem solver. Problem? Yes, call the university, and they try to fix it. So and that's quite a different context, but it hasn't made cost irrelevant, even though the environment surrounding cost as an instrument has changed quite a lot. I think we have the idea that the kinds of networks that cost fund, they are really even more relevant than it was in 1971. Okay, let me see if I can make sense to you. I think we have come in a situation, especially during the 1980s, where it became completely a household concept to talk about knowledge economy. That was the kind of the ticket into also to establish collaborations and programs at the European level. And we also became used to and accustomed to talking about knowledge societies. You know, our children going to higher education being everywhere, research also in civil society and in not only the private sector but also the public sector. But we are less inclined to talk about knowledge democracy. So just leave that hanging a little bit. And that brings me over to the other side. Well, if it was knowledge on one hand and then impact on the other, I think that it's also it would be good to have some reflections on what kind of. I know that the discussions about what is impact has been galloping at several governance levels, but I think it's still. To point to the diversity of impact of research and innovation, I think that's still warranted. And this afternoon we had a presentation by 6 COST alumni, and only these 6 examples demonstrated the way that impact has consequences and effects of cost actions. Have this panoply of different kinds of impacts. I would say impacts in plural rather than in the singular. You could say, of course, the single most important factor that the university at least can have impact on society is through the candidates that we educate. And having research-based education is a sure way of having a channel from knowledge to impact. That's one thing. Well, of course, the instrumental impact. Universities and research meeting up with researchers and innovators from other sectors, you expect to solve problems, have different kinds of solutions to societal challenges and problems. And that's something we also notice in the 250 networks that we operate. And then there's the whole discussion about, is it too much directionality, to use the EU lingo, and what are the conditions under which you can expect to have instrumental effects on policy, on innovation and gadgets that you can sell in the market. But also there is this more like a power-oriented perspective, where you use research as a political ammunition. I mean, to further your course and so on. And you can have also a symbolic effect, confirming the belief that we have in research to be able to be a problem solver.
if you can get it. It's important to demonstrate that we believe in science, and of course that's very much contested territory. It has always been contested, but what we see today with the developments at the global level and some of the countries and systems across the Atlantic, I must say. But these are all different kinds of effects of linking knowledge and different kinds of impact. Keynes, the famous economist, he has said, the man of practice who believes himself to be quite exempt from any academic influence is most likely the slave of some defunct economic theory. And that's kind of puts it on the stage how you can how impact depends on having high quality research on the knowledge side. So and that is the aim of COST, and I firmly believe that the attention that the COST has received is not only due to the financial support that it offers, and through this is of course important to those who benefit from COST funding, but more fundamentally I believe that it stems from the opportunity, the spirit and the humanity embodied in these networks that the COST is funding. These are spaces where knowledge can be shared openly and safely, where it is tested, challenged, expanded, and renewed. And these spaces, science speaks the language of facts, of rigorous examination, repeated experimentation, and validation. It's a space where results are judged on merit and where the long-term investment of focus and dedication can bear fruit, even when the outcomes are uncertain and unexpected. It's important for impact. And now we have the fortunate to have 250 networks that can take on this challenge, networks willing to be open up, to engage, and collaborate across borders and disciplines and institutions as well. And as we speak, there are 60,000 actors involved in COST networks, and that is not trivial. And if these networks are conducive, and we know they are, to the impact of research and innovation, then the COST actions are not trivial at all. They're ready to have these knowledge networks are ready to have their ideas contested and explore new ways of working, and also give room to this scientific academic curiosity and the commitment also to integrity in the research process. And that last thing is extremely important that, for the impact that research and knowledge can have. To support these efforts, COST offers a range of networking tools designed to facilitate meetings and exchanges, standardization, and stepping beyond comfort zone of the participants. Challenges each other. I think that's what's happening also in these networks, that they challenge each other when they meet, and new ideas are also brought to the table. And it's interesting. The data show that participants involved in COST activities have 39% success rate when applying for Horizon Europe funding. 39%, that's way above the average for applications to Horizon Europe. So when we speak about COST, we also speak about equality and equal status, access, rights, and obligations for researchers, both the European Union and the Western Balkans. All are full members of the COST Association, sitting at the same table for strategic decisions and making and program implementation and being equal partners in proposal preparation and project management. And that helps to develop the skills and the experience needed for successful integration into the EU and the European research area. And I think it's quite interesting that this connection between knowledge and impact, COST stands ready to continue to support these kinds of, that journey between knowledge and impact. And we are truly committed to this, to the mission of COST. I thank you also for the kind. We've been in this region now for 2 days, and you don't become an expert on the region in the course of 2 days. But I must say that the enthusiasm for participating in these kinds of networks, the enthusiasm for being part of a European research area, that is very striking and extremely good flag to wave, and has given me also very valuable experiences and insight and privilege to have such outstanding people while experiencing warm hospitality in this remarkable region, I must say. So connectivity and spillover, that's a key that the COST can contribute with when knowledge is going to be put to use. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Edith, and good afternoon, everyone. Happy to have the popular 5:45 slot on a Tuesday. So I hope I can keep it focused and brief. I have 5 points I would like to talk about. First, I'd like to have some reflections about the topic that you've been discussing, all of you, from knowledge to impact. So especially, how do you measure impact of an innovation ecosystem, because now we're coming to the innovation end after covering the research and the science part. So how do you measure that? Secondly, a few words about the EIT, its results, achievements, its models, for those who are not so familiar. Thirdly, what is the EIT doing, offering in the Western Balkans? That's obviously why we're here. Also, last 2 days, a lot of meetings, a lot of impressions. Then fourthly, some ideas for the EIT for the future, FP10, the next MFF, what could be the focus in terms of innovation ecosystems. And then I end with a story to keep it light, and that hopefully is it. So I try to keep it brief. First, some reflections on impact. How do you measure impact of an innovation ecosystem? I mean, for us, some part is the easy one with the numbers, because we measure the impact of what the EIT with its 10 knowledge and innovation communities is doing in terms of the people we have trained and then went on to become ideally entrepreneurs, innovators, or join industry or innovative companies. Secondly, to look at how many companies, startups we could create, and then what is their journey to the market, how much investment they attracted, how many jobs they created. That's also, of course, something very tangible. And the same on the side of innovations, collaborations, what led to products, what led to success on the market. And what created then a return to the innovation communities, because that's the EIT model. And of course, that's something quite tangible. So that side of measuring impact we're comfortable with, and then we can also measure impact on the societal challenges. How has all of that translated into CO2 emission reductions and the like across the societal challenges? But then there's the other part. Once you have a pan-European innovation ecosystem, once you have 60 hubs, as we have around Europe, now also in most of the Western Balkan countries, there's of course a lot going on that you can't measure. We have tried that very much. How do you measure that? Cooperation agreements, you know, handshakes, conferences. All this is, of course, not very tangible because some of it will lead to nothing. Some of it will lead to great opportunities, some intended, some absolutely coincidental. You may have a conversation over coffee and then, you know, start some fantastic ideas, which is unmeasurable. At least we haven't tried it yet. If someone can come up with something that's very simple, we would be welcome to. So how much about impact, about the numbers, and how to measure impact. Now the second point about the EIT, so to share the experience of the EIT. For those who don't know, EIT is based on societal challenges. It's also a place-based approach, so those 60 hubs across Europe means in all the member states and beyond there are entry points into the EIT community. And the 10 knowledge and innovation communities are continuously doing 3 things. They're doing entrepreneurship, education, and skills program on tech skills, but with a dimension of entrepreneurship, so that those who go through these programs are equipped to create a company, to become an entrepreneur. There are business creation programs, so programs from creating the first idea into a business plan, into a startup, up to helping companies to draw on board large investments, quite a number of unicorns also in the EIT portfolio. And then thirdly, to support collaborative innovation, meaning businesses working with research, working with universities, but also cities, many others, depending on the societal challenge, to put concrete solutions on the market. So these are the 3 activities in all the knowledge and innovation communities. And what are the numbers? The numbers is that 10,000 startups have been supported. We have trained 1.3 million learners. We have put 2,500 products and services on the market. These are, of course, just outputs. But the company is supported, so the 10,000 startups are now worth 72 billion euros. So I think that's a real contribution to Europe's competitiveness. That is significant impact and, of course, has created many jobs. It's not that that's just due to the EIT, of course, that companies have been so successful, but it has made a contribution. I come back on that when I tell this example, the success story in the end. But then to add, one of the biggest achievements actually of the EIT, and maybe that's a bit less known and not normally in the numbers, is to help to bridge the innovation divide. And that's actually something that happened very strongly in the last 3-4 years, that the EIT's majority of results now come from the widening countries. So very welcome that this science business event is called the Widening, and that also 30% of the funds of the grants go to the widening countries. In our language, the Regional Innovation Scheme. That includes the newer member states, but it includes also Southern Europe and, of course, also Western Balkan in particular. And I come back to what we are doing there in a second. And of course, that's, I think, something quite surprising at first sight, because initially the EIT was mostly focused on the innovation drivers, Germany, France, UK at the time, Sweden, etc. But that has totally shifted in the last years. On second thought, it's actually very logical, because the value of a big innovation ecosystem where you can access industry, where you can access the top universities, where you can access investors is much higher in a widening country where nationally you cannot get that support so easily than it is in the Germany, France, etc., where if you are a good talent, if you have a good idea, you can probably find the support, and you don't really need the EIT as a network. So I think this is something that comes out, but of course to have the attraction of that network, you also need the partners from the innovation drivers or the more strong innovation countries. So that's, I think, the value of the pan-European network, because in the end it's all about speed, it's all about how quick do you find the support you need to bring your innovation to the market. And definitely if you're stuck in your bubble or in your silo, it's harder than if you can access the right support at the right time. So that's it. Third point about the Western Balkans. So what's the EIT's contribution to Western Balkans, to develop, but also to connect the innovation ecosystem. That's something we started right away in 2014. I've myself worked a lot in the past on enlargement. So of course the support that EIT can offer is very valuable on two fronts. First, to build the innovation capacity to help to grow the local innovation ecosystems. And secondly, of course, to also support individual talents, innovators, help them to stay in the country, to say you can build your company here, you can start your company here, you don't have to brain drain and go somewhere else. So that is the contribution. So concretely, what EIT has been doing in the Western Balkans, we have, of course, helped to give access to the knowledge innovation communities to participate in their activities, and also build a number of dedicated programs. They've been discussed in the last 2 days strongly. So maybe just to mention them briefly, for example, there is the Infra Booster program, which helps startups, researchers, but in particular those who want to commercialize their research to gain access to research infrastructures, which is good for the research infrastructures because they get more used, but also gives access to those potential entrepreneurs. We have the Jump Starter program, which is a program which helps those with a business idea from the very early stage over time to get into the creation and potential growth and acceleration of a company. That's a highly successful countries with very strong participation also in the Western Balkans. There are also awards for that. I come back to that too. Then it's access to the Higher Education Initiative. This is a capacity building program for universities, but also for businesses and research organizations to participate. We had already 4 calls of this program. There will come one in December, which will be a large one, almost 80 million euros, which will focus on cooperation of higher education institutions with the European University Association, and also to implement the STEM education strategy, which the EIT has a mandate from under the Union of Skills. So there is more opportunities to come. Already now there is quite a lot of participation of universities in the Western Balkans. And then there are other programs, such as in particular skills academies of the EIT, and other innovation programs that can be very attractive for the region. So what are the numbers here? So in the Western Balkans in the last 3-4 years, EIT has provided 10 million euros of grants, which is substantial, but not massive, but it's definitely an upwards trend. We supported over 200 startups. 74 higher education institutions and other partners participated in this scheme, which is, I think, quite substantial. A lot of companies went through the Jump Starter, and we trained 18,000 persons in total. So this is already a significant contribution. It has taken up speed a lot in the last 2-3 years, and this is thanks to a newer concept which we put in place to build that capacity, which is to set up EIT community hubs and also EIT community officers. One of them is here, Branka from Montenegro, which are on the ground, which are linked to this hub and which can provide the local ecosystem with an entry point into all EIT communities, into all EIT programs. And this massively speeds up the connections, the referrals, and helps, of course, then participation in the EIT, but ultimately also the growth of the local ecosystem. This now exists in all Western Balkan countries except Kosovo, but there is also a plan to do the same in Kosovo next year. Some technical reasons why that comes a bit later. Then, of course, synergies are very important. So EIT is not working in a silo. We work with other programs, in particular the Regional Cooperation Council, Enterprise Europe Network, COST, also the JRC, of course, EU delegation. And I think it's the only way for all the players with their different role in the innovation ecosystem to work together. At EIT level, we also have cooperations, of course, with the European Innovation Council, with the EU IPO office in Alicante, which is extremely valuable for the startups and SMEs. So that's my third point. Fourth point, the future vision. So the EIT Governing Board adopted a future vision paper as an input to the Commission, sent to Commissioner Sarajeva, who was also here the last weeks, with the ideas of the EIT, how to focus in the future innovation ecosystems in Europe on two priorities. For us, that would be closing the skills gap and closing the innovation gap. Obviously, there's a lot of entrepreneurship, other skills programs of the EIT, so we want to be even more focused and make them available exactly on the needs that we face, because without the talents, without the education programs, there won't be future innovators, neither in the Western Balkans nor in the rest. And EIT can add value. It comes, of course, on top of what universities and others are already doing. And secondly, to close the innovation gap with the rest of the world, which is still the weakness in Europe, but of course also within Europe. So that's the second priority, and that's all. I think these are the two objectives, focus areas that should be done in synergy with other programs, of course, particular in Horizon with the European Innovation Council, who can provide the punctual investment support. And then, of course, also with a simplification effort, as some of the programs, some of the tools in Horizon Europe, the long application forms for grants, etc., are not always suitable to support innovation. So without the simplification, this is, I like the quote, I think it was done by the CC earlier, this can be a time eater for companies, in particular for many filling on these forms, and simplification is needed. Of course, also in the EIT, but also in the other programs. So that is the future vision of the EIT Governing Board. The EIT Governing Board has also thrown some ideas for further areas, innovation areas, priority areas for the EU, where the EIT model could make a difference. This includes, of course, AI and robotics. We already have over 800 startups in the field of AI, coming to an end. Resilience and security, space and aerospace, bioeconomy, and rural innovation. So I stop there with the future program, and I end with a success story of the EIT, and maybe just an illustration how the EIT works in practice. So this is a company called Bound for Blue from Spain. I want to tell their story. What they do is using wind power to propel vessels. Now that doesn't sound like a very innovative idea, because sailing boats been around since the pirates and the Middle Ages, but they do that for big ships, for tankers. So they have developed a technology where wind energy can be translated into propulsion system, and like that reduce emissions, which are one of the biggest issues, of course, in shipping, in global shipping, and also one of the big issues faced in a country like Montenegro with the ports and the harbors and what you have. So this company actually was helped at a very, very early stage by EIT Climate Kick. They got some mentorship, some initial support, encouraged to put their research to the market. Then they were lucky, because in the COVID time, the EIT mobilized extra funding for companies, and they could receive €500,000 of investments from the EIT. They also won the EIT Women Entrepreneurship Award, which helped them to get a lot of visibility. And then the company really took off. So they received €22 million of Series A funding by now from the private sector, from different investors, and also are working now with big shipping companies, Maersk, Tanker, for example, and are now becoming one of the important players. And that's, of course, a massive impact in terms of emission reductions, pollution reduction, if they can grow further. I mentioned this also because it's in the field of water, and that's my outlook. In a few days, 11th November, EIT hopes to designate the next innovation community on water. We're quite excited about this. If all goes well, we will present this new innovation community, which is the 10th one in Budapest at the EIT Awards on the 25th November. So anyone who's interested in seeing that and being part of the EIT Awards, most welcome. So have a good afternoon, and thank you for giving me this slot.
Different colors, but if we are together, then we are necklace. Yeah, so we invite you to be an honorable member of the Widening community, and the same goes to Asha, yes, and coming, yeah, and to Katalin, because without Katalin, who was in the steering group from first, nothing can happen. Yeah, thank you very much. And now, then, yeah, I'm going back to my picture. Sorry. So I apologize from the second panel for being a bit late. It's always happening in the conferences. I'd like to invite now to the stage moderator Agota David from DGRTD. And I think that you wish to introduce the panelists. It's up to you. But I'd like to invite Robert Blatnik from the Josef Stefan Institute, who is member of the
So I will introduce them, but if they are
yeah.
coming
So
already
Robert
to the
Blatnik,
stage, I
Sorin
think
Kostreje, Sanja Damjanovic
just
from
need some
Montenegro,
time.
and Ivana Jankovic-Miljanovic. Yeah, welcome on the stage. Thank you.
So I plan to ask first Robert, but you can sit anywhere. I think we are dynamic in this. I should
Shall I
put
be
this
in
somewhere.
between the ladies?
Maybe it's a better idea. Do we have my slides? I'm just wondering because I sent it. Ah, yes.
Hello. Nice meeting you.
So I will attempt to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and really we appreciate your endurance that you are still here with us in such big numbers. So thank you very much. And we know that sometimes the European research area doesn't seem to be the most exciting topic, and it's a bit of a distant story. But we try to make it as direct and close to us as possible this evening by mentioning some very concrete topics under this heading. And I will start with a short introduction, first myself. So my name is Agota David, and I work for the European Commission since last December in the RTD DG and in the International Cooperation Unit. And previously, I used to work at the Hungarian Perm Rep, and I was covering the European research area for quite many years, and I'm a big fan of the ERA, as you will see. And I hope that the fans of the ERA will just grow after this panel discussion. So I don't know, do I have a kind of a small tool to turn the slides?
You want the presenter?
Thank you so much. Yes, so what is the ERA? So the ERA is more or less the single market for research. And why do we need it? So we would like that knowledge and innovation and researchers, they can circulate freely. And why is this so necessary? So we have talked a lot about Horizon Europe, which is an excellent and huge program with its almost 100 billion euro funding, but it's still only 10% of the research funding that we are spending in Europe. And of course, we should also harmonize somehow our efforts for this 90% in order to have larger impact. We use this word quite many times today. So if we want to increase impact for that one, we need the ERA. And sometimes you need a bit of a renewal of a process because we started 25 years ago, but yeah, the momentum somehow slows down a bit. So we try to renew it, and I will not go into the details. You will see that partly there is a governance framework. There are also, of course, a pact and some values and principles that we have put into the pact. But what I really want to highlight is this policy agenda. So on the policy agenda, we really try to be as concrete as possible. And I can show you the ones that are on the current agenda. So we believe that we should have two main pillars because there are long-lasting activities we really need to support for a longer term, like open science, like researchers' careers. Of course, we need this, and it's part of this free circulation of knowledge, as I mentioned. And we have already used these terms a very long time ago, but there are also newcomers, even under this pillar of, we call them structural policies, like the research assessment reform. I will not go into the detail, but it's a really relevant initiative, or the global approach, which is close to my heart because I'm working in international cooperation, of course. But there are also some other types of actions which are short-term and very concrete, like the one on research management. I think we also heard a lot about it today, that scientists sometimes do not apply because, okay, the program is a bit complicated, but they also lack the time and the capacity to submit proposals. So if we support them in one way or another, then of course they can submit more and more high quality proposals. Also AI, it was one of our main topics during the ministerial or research infrastructures. We will hear about it more very soon. And just very shortly, because it's also very interesting for the whole region. So up to now, the policy agenda was completely free to join. So you could commit if you were interested. You could do as much as you wanted. But we believe there are such topics where we need more and we need real commitment. And that's why we will propose an ERA Act. And what will be on the ERA Act, it will also become compulsory for the region. So when you will exceed the EU, this ERA Act, you will also have to be in line with those acquis. And there we mainly want to focus on investment and reforms. We will go a bit deeper into that one, and also on this free circulation of knowledge. And just the final slide for you that cannot be seen, but it's mainly because when I disseminate it, there is a link, because we also talked about how you can more or less make your voice heard. And now there is a public consultation going on, so you can use the link on that slide and then you can submit your ideas. So that was my really short setting of the scene. So I would now continue with introducing my panelists, and I have Robert, so as I said, we will be dynamic and we don't go in a row because I have Robert on my paper first. So let me introduce Robert. Robert Blatnik is head of knowledge transfer office at the Josef Stefan Institute in Slovenia, so from the region. A certified licensing professional with over 30 years of experience in ICT, intellectual property protection and licensing. He has helped establish 13 spin-out companies, congratulations, and strengthen collaboration between research and industry. Since 2024, he has been leading a national consortium that connects knowledge transfer offices from 10 Slovenian public research organizations. So we also have an action on knowledge valorization and research management. And as you are working for a really big research institute, so I'm wondering that how you can really work in such an environment. How can you support knowledge valorization of scientists with the limited resources?
Well, thanks for having me here. Josef Stefan Institute is indeed the largest public research institution in around Slovenia and these parts of Europe. Around 1,300 researchers, 3 pillars basically, electronics and information communication technologies, from robotics to AI. We are pretty strong in AI. Then chemistry, new materials, we're very strong here. For example, recycling of rare earth elements, etc. And of course physics, which everything started with physics. From theoretical physics to particle physics, we are very active in CERN. Slovenia has also started with the full membership of CERN, so we are pretty proud of that. And of course, all these numbers and 90 million budget now, right now, takes a lot of responsibility to show to the public that this money is well invested. As European Commission President said, I will quote, invention is burning money, but innovation is actually bringing money back, it's generating money. So at the end of the day, we're talking about money. So how many new jobs, director of EIT already said, how many new jobs, how many new companies do we establish, how many people do we make happy or better life? And we all struggle to that. So how we do this? We started quite early, I mean, 15 years ago, 17 years ago, bottom up, to develop the services for technology transfer at the time, which now evolved to the knowledge transfer, which is a wider picture. And we started with basically capacity building of few people which took care on intellectual property, so to first to scout what are the new ideas in the laboratories, to talk with researchers, to describe basic principles of intellectual property, then move forward with the decisions on intellectual property protection, either patenting protection or secret know-how, and then to understand the market, which potential behind inventions, and understand the market, able to communicate with the market. I'm talking about industry, end users, to understand the value, to talk with the researchers about value, because these concepts are not always very straightforward for them. For example, what is value? It's not the price, it's value. Value is something which you are able to show to somebody who want to pay for this, or to put public money in it. And there are concepts that we usually follow with the researchers. They invent something, but they don't really know how to approach or how to show this to the industry, for example.
And can you support them in this?
Okay, have you been in the process? Have you been in the industry? Have you talked about the main manager of the production line? What is his or her what are her problems? Do you understand this? Well, no, we just invented something. Now you take care of it.
So you translate a bit.
Then we are talking to them, and we bring them to the industry. We are talking with industry partners. We have regular visits with companies, and we try to understand first what they have, which problems they have. Sometimes we are talking different languages. They're talking about numbers, we are talking about numbers on the other side, but we need to get together. They need translation in that. So we help them in that and try to find some topics which are relevant for the industry. Sometimes they want it to be solved yesterday, but we need to then persuade the industry that it takes time. It's research. We need to also today to understand that there is some time scale which needs to be taken into account, and then eventually we come to some projects where we, with industry or for industry, either develop something completely new, or we work something incremental, some new processes development, and then we together get to some inventions. And these are some usually some small projects, which then leads to the bigger project eventually. And this is really beneficial because we now observe some long-term relationships with industry where researchers are constantly engaged with the industrial partners, and they are already together, they're innovating. This is one part of the story, and of course spin-outs. Spin-outs which were already mentioned. This is more and more popular, or I mean, the model of getting research to the market. And we are supporting this since last 15 years. We are having pitch competitions, educational events. We help researchers to understand business model, to develop business model, to find some different models for putting it on the market. And through that, we raise awareness among institute, among researchers, which then they talk to each other and say, oh, you have a new company. Okay, what's this? Why didn't I think about that? Because I see different types, I mean, basically three types of researchers. If you see Gauss, yes, and on the left side, I mean, there's a majority. These are researchers, which academics, they don't want to do anything about entrepreneurship, impact. Okay, they're very good mentors. They bring a lot of PhDs and they employ in industry. It's great. On the other side, we have entrepreneurial researchers. They already did at our institute in the past, and they will do their own companies. They will innovate if we help them or if we not help them, if we have instruments for them or not. But this is again small group of people. And then we have this large group of people. When we describe the invention, when they prepare the chart for invention disclosure, there is a question: are you consider of establishing a company? And they never say no. They always say, okay, maybe, yes, why not? And this is the group which we need to cover with our instruments, with our support. And I'm talking, I'm sometimes take this wording from venture capital. We need smart money on the instruments, not just money, throwing money in. We need to support with services which will have tangible results at the time.
We will get back to this, I'm
well,
sure, the smart money. I like the smart money concept. But now I turn to Sanja. So I've shortly introduced you, Sanja. Sanja Damjanovic is a physicist with a PhD from the University of Heidelberg. Since 1999, she has worked at major international research infrastructures, including CERN in Geneva and GSI Fair in Darmstadt. She served as Montenegro's Minister of Science from 2016 to 2020 and initiated SciDEV, a pan-European large-scale research infrastructure for Southeast Europe, including the Western Balkans. So you can see, Sanja is a real expert in research infrastructures. She's working there, she initiated one, so she knows everything about research infrastructures. And I'm really curious, Sanja, because we even discussed this today, and Branka raised the question that what is the difference if you just give access to other infrastructures all over Europe, or you have something here locally in the region?
Yeah.
So because I suppose also in terms of carriers and the brain drain, this would make a real difference.
Okay, thank you so much, Agota. I'm very happy that we now touch the topic of research infrastructure. Is my microphone okay?
Yeah, we hear you well.
Sound to me very strange. So research infrastructure have proven to have powerful social economic impact, and they are helping solving challenges. I'm very much happy now on the focus of fusion for energy. They can solve everything from geopolitical tension and brain drain to weak economy. And of course, fragmentation, which we now mention for the Western Balkans. So I'm very happy to be part of this conference because I'm sure that we share all this vision. Because as you know, despite of the clear recognition and acknowledgement that research innovation are very important for economic growth, for global competitiveness, it's not really often that research innovation are among headline topics, and in particular in this region. So I'm very happy that this new era policy agenda 25-27 highlight research infrastructure and research careers among the top structural policies. So, but let us now see what are the action needed. If we talk about research infrastructure, and then in EU countries, in particular more developed countries, the focus is on open access of these research infrastructures, including for industrial users, and the European Commission is doing a really great job with transnational access. If we talk about researcher career, here the main concern is how to keep young researchers, how to offer them long-term position already at early stage, and not only fellows, and not only employ them during the running of the project, which is the kind of misusing of these young people, and they see they go, the best are going to industries. But let us see what are the challenges here and what are the actions needed here in the Western Balkans. So the best way is that we go and look at the ERA monitoring results. And let us pick up one parameter, number of researchers normalized per million inhabitants in order to make a fair comparison. So what we can see is that number of researchers in EU 27 is continuously increasing, and over the last 10 years, this number increased by 50%. Now, if you look at the same number for the Western Balkan, what we see is that numbers are much smaller compared to EU 27. And they are much smaller compared to more developed countries, for example, in Germany. But what is striking is that number of researchers in the Western Balkan, with the exception of Serbia, though not ideal, is constant. It is constant over more than 10 years. But we have so many universities. We are producing pool of all this talent, people, where they go. And now we hit the main problem. There are hardly any new research infrastructures based on new technologies built in the Western Balkan. Sadly, there is more than 17 years, that large-scale research infrastructure has not been built in this region. And I'm very happy that beside me here is a colleague from Josef Stefan Institute, because now we are talking about Western Balkan, how to close the gaps, how to catch. But in the past, actually, we had such incredible technological tradition. We had 3 institutes, including Josef Stefan, older than CERN. We were one of the founding, I'm talking we, former Yugoslavia, one of the founding members of CERN. I will finish soon. I need now to say, from the first day when I was Minister of Science of Montenegro, I initiated large-scale research infrastructure, and we are now talking about SciDEV. This is an accelerator-based research infrastructure for cancer therapy and cancer research, and it's 250 million investment. And at the beginning, what was challenges now is easy. But what was easy in 2017 is now challenge, and I want to bring you the message. Thanks to the support of international research community, among them CERN, GSI, for existing hadron cancer therapy, we finalize now, and thanks to the support of European Commission with 6.5 million, we finalize design study of SciDEV. SciDEV is now ready to start construction. On the other hand, European Commission recognizes as the flagship for enlargement. And there is, I think, big potential that this SciDEV can be financial from the new economic plan for the Western Balkan, because I can say strongly, directly, you can correct me, but there are indications that this money are not going to efficiently be spent until 2027. Now, one point, I was involved in Policy Answer project, and I really enjoyed that, and one of my tasks was exactly to promote that we need research infrastructure. If we would have, then we would not have the problem of the success rate in Horizon Europe. We will have ERC grants and etc. And we organized 2 workshops, and you participated in the last one we organized, and I just want to highlight 2 examples from the Western Balkan. One is Bioscience project, which is unfortunately still the only one teaming for excellence project. It's focused on smart agriculture, and the other one, which is technology-oriented infrastructure, 11S, which was like startup and was supported also by EIT, and today is a mega factory, and I'm very happy to see that they are now making transition into a gigafactory, gigawatt-hour battery plant. So my conclusion is now we really need to do everything to construct SciDEV in our region and to get more research infrastructure. Without that, we will only continue to make small steps.
Thank you, Sanja. So after smart money, we need infrastructure. Oh, and okay. So the reaction is just shows that your commitment hopefully will lead to a result soon. So we need smart money, we need infrastructures. And now I turn to Sorin. So Sorin Kostreja is the president of UNICA network, which has universities except from Kosovo, all the other Western Balkans partners, since June 2023. He was previously vice rector of the University of Bucharest for 2 mandates. He was also the state advisor for education and research of 3 prime ministers. He was also Secretary of State to the Minister of Education and Research, and currently is advisor to the Rector for University Networks and coordinator of the Civish Alliance, and honorary advisor for the Ministry of Education and Research for Higher Education. We already heard today about universities, that everybody just calls universities. They are the test beds. They should more or less try everything that we are interested in. How would that work with open science, with research assessment? So please, Sorin, if you can say something a bit how also the research pillar, which is part of the ERA actions, can be strengthened somehow, and what these European University Alliances can do for the ERA and for the region.
Right, I will bring universities to the scene. First of all, thank you for having me here. I look at Edith. We are doing great things, I think, together, and we are proudly member of Science and Business. Few words about UNICA. It's a network of universities from the capitals of Europe. 56 universities. It's an old network. We celebrate last year 35 years. I'm the first president from this part of the world. I'm from Bucharest, from this widening countries. And I really enjoy this kind of incubators because you are distributing eggs. But now I'll switch. I switch to ideas, you know. I'm not a mathematician, but I like numbers, and I'm doing philosophy of mathematics. So I like big pictures, vision, and ideas. And now I switch to universities. Of course, at the end of the day, we talk about money. But are we at the end of the day? We science masochists, thank you for staying with us here. We are at the beginning of the day. And at the beginning of the day, we are talking about ideas. And money will follow ideas. Of course, in order to be incubators, we need research infrastructures. And by the way, in order to complete your pictures, we have here large infrastructures. For instance, is the ELI project, the largest laser in the world, which is in Szeged, Prague, and Bucharest. And all of these received more than 330 millions. So it's here. The problem is what we are doing with that. Now back to ideas and back to universities. So we need these ecosystems. And if we need to make impact to our societies, I think universities should be at the center, because we have research, and that research, in order to get to the communities, should go through universities by education. European University Initiative. That's the third largest wave of change in Europe. We had Erasmus, and we increased mobility. We had Bologna process, and we increased compatibility. And now we have that. There are 65 alliances, strategic alliances, and they are looking towards the compatibility among pre-established universities. Now, for instance, for region, and Montenegro is also part of UNICA, and I know that it's part of an alliance. That's a way to integrate, this potential to Europe. Why? Because these alliances are different. In the landscape we have in Europe, this alliance will bring better and closer collaboration, and I like the distinction, which is co-innovation. Why? Because we don't have models, and each alliance is creating its own model of compatibilizing the three pillars, important pillars in a university: research, education, and social engagement. What's new with that? It's unique in the world. It's only in Europe, and the final, goal is to strengthen democracy. The idea came from a discourse of President Macron in 2017 in Sorbonne, and he said, and that, imagine, that was before COVID, it was before the attack of Russia on Ukraine, and all this, turmoil we are living in, when we are facing now these social viruses of nationalism, extremism, populism. And he said, how are we going to strengthen the foundation of Europe? Why not create universities from already coexisting universities? Which is very hard, because universities are among the most conservative entities on earth. So when you are putting them together, you will see the difficulties. But also, what we have there, we have incubators of ideas. So in terms of Widera, for instance, I use this metaphor. Widera is like a foggy bridge. On one part, you have Western European countries with infrastructures, with money, and they are looking at the other part, seeing the fog. They don't see really what's there, asking, why should we share funds and infrastructure? On the other part of the bridge, I would say it's us, most of the people. With idea as energy, and we are looking across the bridge saying, why should we share energy and ideas, right? Because I think ideas are the most important things. After that, and without ideas, with all the infrastructures in the world, with all the industry, we can't do anything. Okay. So it's a matter of trust. I will finish in 2 minutes. It's a matter of trust. How can we make these people see that we should collaborate and should bring something new? And this new is integration. And you know, the dispersion of intelligence in population, it's quite the same in our nations. I'm talking about intelligence, not education and this. So we need this potential from this region, and we need the infrastructure and funds. And together, I think we will be stronger, and can make even greater things. And last and not least, let's put science at the front of our integrative powers in Europe. I mean, let's create from the scientists a model of integration, because with science we are bringing democracy, we are bringing, even inclusion, even many things we need in our societies. So I think we really need a wide era, and we really need to involve in this, because it's a huge opportunity, and we can create from the scientists, from professors, a model of a European integration. Because science doesn't have frontier, normally. We don't need visas. We need only collaboration and ideas. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your very clear messages, dear panelists. So we are all listening to each other. And finally, I turn to our excellent host for the last 1.5 days, Ivana. So Ivana Jankovic-Mijanovic is Director General for Innovation and Smart Specialization in the Ministry of Education, Science and Innovation in Montenegro. She used to work in the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs in the sector of economic diplomacy, as well as in the Ministry of Economic Development and Tourism in the management of IPA projects aimed at strengthening the competitiveness and innovation of the private sector. And maybe you can speak a bit about smart specialization, and then we might see the way out of the fog, hopefully, and that you will also tell us a bit more how money can be spent smartly on priorities.
Well, in comparison to other speakers, I come as a boring one from state administration, the one that puts constraints, but also that gives possibilities. So I would agree with all of you on the topics. First of all, I would really like to say that I think that ERA Act should exist.
Okay, that other message we like to hear.
Even though we would have to do administrative work, I could agree that something like that should, as Innovation Act. So to give us a framework in which we really have to stick with. Because speaking from the point of smart specialization, and every one of you actually said all the things that I hear, because we are now in the process of EDP, which is entrepreneurial discovery process within the preparation of the new strategy of smart specialization, which is supposed to create a framework. When I say a framework, it's a framework for science, research, but also business environment that is friendly enough to put all these actors together, to exchange ideas, and to have the similar agenda. Today we actually had a meeting with the commissioner who said that innovation, science, horizon projects bring the biggest competitors in industries together to collaborate on innovation. So that is the key message that the smart specialization should also send. It needs to enhance innovative potential here in the framework of having friendly environment. When I say business environment, I'm honestly thinking about business environment applicable to also research, innovation, and whole innovation ecosystem. So in my opinion, in Montenegro, we are now actually applying for observatorship in ELIERIC. which you mentioned, which we see as also a potential to bring closer research infrastructures to Montenegro. Those type of networks are valuable for small countries as ours. Also, Sanja said we need to bring and to build research infrastructure in Montenegro, and that is definitely true. But these connections and networks in Europe can help our scientists stay here or at least commute their work from here to Europe. We launched a call for diaspora, scientific diaspora, a couple of days ago, I think, which is worth a bit more than 1 million euros. So we are trying also to use the network of scientists abroad who use different types of research infrastructures and to use their expertise, knowledge, connections to bring them here through concrete programs. On the level of the smart specialization, what was very interesting for me to notice was the fact that many of the companies don't still have here the idea of the potential of the science and research for their own innovation processes. That was, okay, we have some shining stars, of course, but for the sectors that were identified as priorities, and that is agriculture, tourism, energy and sustainable environment, ICT and construction, there is no enough knowledge about how they can actually use the existing research infrastructure here, the existing scientific network, young researchers for their own innovation capacities, and that is something that we definitely identified as a challenge and also as a problem that needs to be solved, because we need to be those that will somehow direct also business community to think about innovation and research. So that will be...
Not only the scientists should think about valorization, but also the business side.
You need to bring them both. You need to have the impulse from the business sector to the research. And that is what Innovation Fund has been trying to do for the recent years with innovation vouchers, proof of concept, different programs that they implemented. But I think the dialogue is from the both sides. And that is what I like about smart specialization, that within the framework that we will create, the second one, because the first one was also very good, I think we can bring these parties and keep this dialogue alive and have dialogue both ways, not only one. And what we really need to think about is how to keep our young scientists here, not only through engaging them in companies, but also giving them really infrastructure to work and also possibilities to go abroad, but to come back here to have grounds for the work. So those are the challenges, but something that really has to be overcome in the next period of time. It cannot be done tomorrow, but I think that the innovation ecosystem in comparison to 10 years ago has made significant breakthrough, and the smart specialization strategy has been in implementation since 2019, which is not so long period. It's not long period of time, and it actually brought completely different perspective to both economic and innovation ecosystem and science, because today we have University of Montenegro and other universities here who are very active and who have teams who compete in Horizon. We hope that this year we will actually have one big Horizon coordinating project. I won't say which one, but I see some familiar faces in the audience also who can be the leaders of it. So there is awareness there, and some changes were made. And actually, Sanja, you were one of the pioneers of it, and thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Ivana. And actually, originally, of course, I planned some time for questions, but I think we moved that part to the to the innovation dinner. So I would have one final, very short round. So really, just 1 or 2 sentences, please. So if you have a dream under the era that should come true, or just 1 or 2 key messages for the audience under the era, and I don't give any order. Who dreams more quickly that should share his or her dream with us? Okay, Sorin, yes.
I'm a dreamer.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, my dream for ERA would be to get closer to EHEA. EHEA is European Higher Education Area, which will come in place with the European University Initiative, because we'll have dedicated programs in Horizon for them, but which now is not in the best place. Just think that we have 2 commissioners for research and for education, well, skills. Ideally, dreamily, it will be to have 1 commissioner, 1 vision, in order to better integrate the 2.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Second dreamer.
So I would say what is my dream. I'm very happy that through FP10 there will be increase of the budget for research infrastructures. I'm also happy that the European Commission is going to dedicate a large envelope of money for 8 moonshot projects. One of these 8 is already defined, it's FCC7. The other are not defined, but the topics are defined, and one of thematic topic is the liver patient health. So I'm really happy to tell you that with support of CERN, GSI, and presently 4 clinics in Europe, we sent our request to the European Commission to embrace SciDEV, being realized in the Balkan, I hope yes, or in the Baltic country, I hope yes, to take SciDEV as one of the moonshot projects. So this is my dream.
Then it's me. Thank you. Now, Ivana or Robert, who continues?
So I will again be very boring with my dream.
The dreams cannot be boring.
I have concerns really regarding AI in science, and I would really like to use science for ethical use of AI, because I think that that is the challenge for whole Europe and all of us. And even though it's a bit like very popular topic, maybe a bit far away from what we discussed today, I think that as the sooner the science reacts and actually brings some sort of actual scientific approach in it and use it rightly with ethics standards, we will be, as a society, as a country, as a Europe, as a world, on much safer and less ups and downs and crazy way as we.
This is not boring at all. I think this is life or death. So, and finally, Robert, what is your dream?
Besides supporting research, I think we need also instruments to support research to think entrepreneurial and innovative. For example, last year we had a guest from Colorado Boulder, and they're having a very interesting program on customer discovery, which is helping researchers to find customers, to engage with the interaction with them, and to understand what is actually the problem on the industrial side, and to align the research to that, and maybe business model to move it forward into spin out. So we need smart money in terms of also of supporting researchers to make entrepreneurial and innovative ideas forward. So this is my vision. Okay.
Thank you. I hope you all have a dream and they will all come true. And I hope that we can continue these discussions then at the innovation dinner. And thank you so much, Edith, for making this event possible.
Can I choose? Okay, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, I have to summarize the meeting, and the summary will be in twofold. First, I'd like to say big thanks to those who helped me, namely Denica and Eleonora. I do not know where are they. Yeah, Eleonora is outside. You have the egg, yeah? So you come for the egg. And Desiree from Coast, Policy Answers. Sorry, I'm mixing up after 6. So Desiree, because you were in the steering committee, yeah? So you have your little egg, and this is for. You know, without partners, nothing happens in the life, just nothing happens in the life. And my second message, don't be surprised, we will be back. We will be back in 2026, yeah, to make the next event. And then I'd like to ask Bernhard Fabianek to come for the egg which I deserved for him.